And hello once again, ladies, gentlemen, and children of all ages. Welcome back to the Torrential Turnabout. An Ace Attorney fan game, and apparently part-time Danganronpa fan game as well. Unless we left our intrepid heroes, we had just started on Chapter 4, and found ourselves knocked unconscious by a gas grenade in the middle of a trial. You know, like you do. This is why you generally have, like, security personnel inside of a courtroom, children. And woke up to find ourselves locked in the courtroom proper. Alongside the witness, the prosecutor, our co-counsel, and 3 other people who we don't know, and yet we, the players, do. Because these are quite obviously 3 of the people who were present in Shiel's room and board, the death game that was held 5 years ago. Now, at the end of last episode, we did sit down and speak to Teddy here, who, as I'd suspected, is the same person as Nathaniel Montclair, the rich owner of the hospice where the murder in the present took place. But because of his certain memory disorder, we didn't really have his Acosta-Bergazzi syndrome. Yes, at this point I am just showing off my ability to say the word Acosta-Bergazzi syndrome consistently. Anyway, he wasn't helpful because he has, severe brain damage. Now, if we want to clear out this room here, we could go up and talk to a good prosecutor. But I don't wanna. That would suck. So instead we're gonna go down and talk to a witness who probably actually has something to say. Got 2 people here. Let's talk to the fireman first. He seems intense and easy to manipulate. Oh, Judge Harper was dead. That was also a thing that happened last case. Hey there. Hey. I've noticed you doing your rounds. I'm up next, huh? And it was going to be your turn sooner or later. Hey, I can appreciate a thorough investigation. I'm Detective Charlie Klein, by the way. Call me Charlie. It's good to meet ya. Likewise. I'm Mia Fey. I'm Donald Graves' lawyer. So you are... So Montclair was the owner of the hospice. Charlie was one of the detectives assigned to the case. You know, we've gone from the realm of this case is very obviously connected to NX0 to Jesus Christ, what are the odds? Everything about this case is connected to NX0. Should I be suspected of a conspiracy? I don't want it to be a conspiracy. I think accomplices are cheating. But everyone I know has a big butt. How about you, chat? Tell me about your big butt. Anyway, so Fireman became a detective. Was he already a detective when he was in? If he was much better at hiding it than the bald guy. Or did the bald guy get him into being a detective after the fact? I don't think he was pretending to not be a detective, though. He was in debt to the mob. Now granted, that is not the first time it's happened to a policeman. I'm thinking ahead of my data. Let's focus on the case at hand, why don't we? That seems like a thing that would be sensible to do. Yeah, so I've been told. You left me a voicemail a while back, right? I did, didn't I? Man, it feels like forever ago. You know, with the whole being knocked unconscious and locked in a killing game. That old trauma from before just doesn't seem to matter anymore. No kidding, huh? You never actually got back to me now that I think about it. Didn't I? Sorry. I've got somewhat of a reputation for being hard to reach. I'm pretty sure McLean was also running into problems with that. Well, you've got me now. And it's not like I've got anything better to do right now, so... why don't we have that conversation? Okay, but first, before anything else, I need you to look at my badge. By the way, that's quite the outfit. For a court of law, that is. And they just didn't bat an eye. Huh. Oh, buddy, first time? I don't think there's anything I could say about that you wouldn't already know. Interesting. Well, then what about myself? Can you tell me anything about... if there's anything I can tell you about that you wouldn't already know? You know, that does track. What about Donald Graves? That guy is... I don't know. Helpful? Against all odds, he's still the exact same as he was back then. At least on the outside. So, is Donald Graves mentally fortitudinous? Or is he the culprit? I'd believe either option at this point. And who is he? We know who he isn't, which does help us narrow it down a bit. But he could be Roland, he could be that other ex-cop. Well, no, he was X at the time. He might have gone X, but given that he said that he's the same as he ever was, he probably wasn't. I don't think there's anything to do. What about the victim? He was your partner, wasn't he? You're wearing one glove. But you're also a stock asset from the freely usable public domain characters sprite sheets. So I don't know how much I should be thinking about that. Oh, he's super fucking dead, yo. Did you do something to piss Winters off? I mean, yeah. Tell me about yourself, Chucky. That strikes me as rather unlikely. This guy's kind of a tool, isn't he? And nothing you can tell me about Shield. Alright, what can you tell me about then? I gotta look at the background. Legal folk sure do love their flags, don't they? They're featureless blank red flags. I mean, that's the best kind in my book, I don't know about you all. So, what's the sitch? Beep 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 beep. I confess, I've been eavesdropping on you a bit. And from what I can tell, you know some things, Ms. Faye. So, tell me honestly, do you think this is the next room board? Are we in for another ride? Do they want to take us for a ride? That was a shockingly straightforward question. Beating around the bush gets old after a while. This whole case could use a dose of that perspective. Amen to that. So? You know if Shield has actually got us in his vice right now, but if I had to take a guess... Yeah, that's exactly what I think is happening. But joke's on him, he's walked right into our trap apparently somehow. Aha, now for phase 2 of my master plan. We're geniuses. Unfortunately, I agree. In a lot of ways, it felt like this sort of thing was inevitable. How do you mean? It's like... how should I put it? I've never actually put this feeling into words before now. We don't need to talk about it if you don't want to. Nah, it's fine. I'll get off my chest and be done with it. I don't know exactly how much you know about the incident, but... I've been trying to forget about the whole thing. Move on, you know? I'm a detective now. Got myself a real-ass job. A career, even. So you weren't a detective beforehand. You got hired after the case. Did the bald guy whose name I can't remember recruit you after the fact? Did he take a liking to you during the game? I don't remember you all talking all that much. Then again, we only saw one of the, like, weeks worth of days you were in there. I don't think the bald detective and Kurt Bishop are the same person. Bishop was the lead detective on NX0. And it didn't take place during a hurricane, I don't think, so... There would have been no way for Monsieur Sheol to, like, see to it that the case was very pressed for resources and they needed to get just anybody on the case, even if it violated conflict of interest. So that's one person we know isn't involved at the very least. At least not as a man on the inside. God, this game is so long and so complicated and so inspired by absurd titles. I don't know what I can trust. I mean, you got yourself a real-ass job, we're all very proud of you. I've got a house, I've got a dog, I've got a white picket fence, I've got a Petunia, named Petunia, I've got a girl, a couple of them even. It is good, man. Life's good. I don't need to be hauling baggage around. I mean, that would be a lot to unpack. Ayo! And I keep telling myself that, but... it almost feels like my life is on a lease or something. I guess it's a bit on the loud side, isn't it? Christ on toast, acid rain, working your balance. Hurting my ears. Like, everything is just temporary, and sooner or later I'm gonna have to pay it all back. And it is borrowed, isn't it? From the others. Those who didn't make it out of it. I'm only alive because they aren't. That's the stark truth of it. I mean, I can't say with honesty you're completely wrong. But also keep in mind that you aren't the one who killed those people. I'm assuming. Yeah, you seem decently trustworthy. You don't strike me as smart enough to commit something like this. More or less anyway. That was a bit too touchy-feely for my taste. Sheesh. Shade. Nope. Nope. Sorry if I still can't pull it off. Like I literally just mentioned, here I am going on and on. Let's call this one a mulligan, alright? My bad. I'm sorry you have to go through this again. Nah. I'm good. Kinda glad, actually. It's like... finally, you know? I can finally get this over with. Just rip the damn bandage off. Yeah, the anticipation is almost always worse than just getting the trigger pulled. I'll pay it all off and be debt-free. I mean, I might die, but that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. I kind of phrased that as a joke, but I'm fairly certain he means it completely sincerely. I can kind of understand. That still strikes me as an unreasonably positive take on things, though. Well, I ain't gonna say I'm not putting on a brave face. Who's fooling who? I'm scared shitless right now. Oh, I tremble with fear at all times. But I think I'm doing a pretty good job keeping it together, all things considered. Kinda feels like I've grown a bit. And when you consider how massive he was 5 years ago, that is a terrifying prospect. So, I was trying to get in touch with you re the murder beforehand. Can you actually tell me what I wanted to know now? What can you tell me about Kurt Bishop's murder? The murder, huh? Well, I don't really know what you're hoping to get out of me here. Some information? You're the detective here. I worked the case for a few days, sure, but you were at the trial. At this point, I don't think there's anything I could tell you that you wouldn't already know. That's true. You were actually taken off the case at some point, right? Huh? Oh, yeah. That was mostly just a formality. Realistically, if they had a problem with me investigating Kurt's death, they wouldn't have assigned me to work on it in the first place. Are the rules that lax in the LAPD? No, that's not what I meant. It was the hurricane, right? I really didn't have enough hands to go around. I don't think the brass actually wanted me on this case, but they probably didn't have much choice. Ironically, the person they probably wanted on the case was Kurt himself. What was that? Well, he was the NX0 expert. The higher-ups knew he'd been in the case 5 years ago. He would have been a go-to man for any case having to do with NX0. I was just their backup. Checks out. We clearly know this case is very, very deeply tied to NX0. But where does the Nintendo Switch's prototype fit into its case? Curiouser and curiouser and curiouser yet. He's probably right when he says there's not much he could tell me about the murder. But there's something else that only he could tell me about. The victim. But first I need to learn more about yourself. Gotta take things in order. To violate that precept lies madness. What can you tell me about yourself, Charlie? What do you want to know? Well, you went from Sheol's victim to LAPD detective. How'd that happen? Yeah. Strange, isn't it? Yeah, I don't really know how it happened myself. I spent a lot of time working things out with Kurt after the room and board. Guess he took a liking to me. So what was Kurt's doing, and not Detective Bald? You know, Donald Graves just... the bald guy, the bald detective who's inside the game just looks like a Donald Graves. Of course, Roland is still a major unknown in all this. So who's to say what's what? Bishop? Yeah. Said he'd get a spot on the force if I wanted. It was pretty unwarranted, I thought. I mean... a killer's a killer. No badge can paint over that. You're talking about Sheol's room and board, right? I think because... Yeah, I know. Sorry. Just... That's what everyone says. Ah, 4 of us got a pass. Our actions were legally justified due to... circumstances. You know, the circumstances. Those circumstances, but it's all just excuses. What happened, happened. There's no changing it. I may not have bashed anyone's skull in myself, but I'm still responsible. So were the people dead by getting their skulls bashed in, or is that just a turn of phrase you're using? Because that would modify my calculus quite a bit. Would it be alright if I asked you a few more questions about the room and board? I don't mean to pry or anything. You can say no. Oh, no, it's fine. Again, man. Jeez, look, I swear I'm not usually this mopey. Maybe the situation's got me a teensy bit more riled than I thought. Maybe being kidnapped and forced to play a killing game is bad for my mental health. I don't know, I'm just spitballing here. And I certainly don't blame you. I appreciate it. But, yeah. Ask away. I'll try to answer in the least emotionally charged way possible. I mean, I'd prefer if you, if you got a bit more emotional, one of us has to be. What should I ask about? 9 days. And that other guy only did it for 9 hours. This escalation is getting out of hand. So tell me about what happened during the game. I would like to know these things at some point, please. Can you tell me what sort of things happened inside the room and board? You talking just in general? Yeah. Is that alright? I don't think it is, actually. Sorry. Just that there was a lot that happened. And we can't let the reader know all of it at once, then they'd have unfair advantage. People died. Good people. I don't want to generalize the events that led to their deaths. Does that, make sense? Sorry if not. No, I think I understand. You can see the results for yourself. 3 of us are standing here, and you know Graves, right? We're really bad at this. I just don't want to get caught up in remembering details, you know? I want to wash my hands of this thing. I want it behind me. Alright, how'd you get out of there? Was it the way Shield expected, and if so, what happened afterwards? What was it like getting out? Getting out, huh? I was the 3rd person to escape if you were to put numbers to it. Graves was the first. Then later Damara, myself, and Nathan all left in quick succession. So the first person to leave is the one who got chucked off a building. How interesting. Maybe they were the real target here, and that's why the culprit framed them and attempted to kill them? Like, I don't doubt that Kurt was an intended victim, and maybe Montclair as well, although given that he survived and was back on his feet pretty quickly, wouldn't be surprised if the culprit spared his life on purpose. Tamara. Maybe there was something about the way Graves escaped? maybe he was the one who actually did straight up kill somebody. It's weird that Damara hasn't really been affected, although she is, you know, here in the game. That's certainly interesting. I don't know whether or not Shield was the culprit behind anything that happened on those rooftops that day. Let's not get ahead of what we know. Maybe this is news to you and maybe not, but the room and board was actually a bomb shelter. Oh, really? I mean, that would certainly explain how, you know, the absence of windows. Man, these Vault Tech experiments just get weirder and weirder the more of them I learn about. Cold Warrior, I think. Some old abandoned piece of history. Shield's first it up some, of course. Middle of the goddamn woods, too. Back into some farm in the middle of nowhere. Man, what the hell sort of farmer was able to afford— no, wait. No, farmer— like, people who own farms actually do make bank. Mostly off of government subsidiaries. Yeah, survivalist type, living out in the woods, living off the land. Sweet person who'd have a bomb shelter. Hypocritically insisting he's self-sufficient even though he lives entirely on government subsidiaries. Yeah, I can see the type. Given that they mentioned the farm was abandoned, he's probably dead now. We, got lost. Immediately. We started walking in the exact wrong direction, we learned after. Took us till evening to actually find civilization. We hitchhiked back with a trucker we stumbled across. Man, imagine if that trucker had been some sort of, like, serial killer or criminal mastermind of some sort. Just how bullshit would that have been? God, you have just the absolute worst luck, my dude. His name is Dan, by the way. And I still buy him a beer whenever he's in the area. Dan the Trucker. The fact that you named him makes me very curious. Guy with a truck would explain how he was able to smuggle like 9 people into that shelter without making any suspicious movements. Anything's still possible at this stage. Just as like, hey, thanks for being there literally by happenstance. Alright, so what happened next? How did you go from there to police detective? How was the investigation after the fact? I imagine you were a key witness. It, kinda had a rocky start. We first needed to get someone to believe our story. And the county sheriff we talked to about it. Let's just say that Damar stayed in a holding cell while the rest of us showed him to the room and board. And once things got rolling, then we all got put in holding cells. I guess that don't make sense. Yeah, not much I can tell you beyond that. The LAPD grilled me hard, and the FBI grilled me harder. And a year later, I somehow fell into myself on the other side of that cold steel table. Cold steel, the table. Nothing personnel, kid. The most fantastic interrogator. That's probably enough for now. Now the one topic we actually need you for. What can you tell us about the dead man who's been dead not that long? Actually, I'd like to learn more about Detective Bishop if that's alright. Kurt? Yeah, sure, no problem. Weren't really that close, but it still doesn't feel real yet. You said that the two of you weren't really that close, but from what I understand, you were basically his only friend, right? Man, poor bastard. Yeah, that's true. But with Kurt, those two things weren't mutually exclusive. And McLean did say that Bishop was unusually reserved. Partners first, friends second would be a good way to put it. He always said I was a good Watson, which never made much sense to me. Well, it makes perfect sense to me. I don't know what you all are going on about. That guy was like a doctor and in the army and junk. I'm just me. Can't you see? I'm just a pretty little bumblebee. So it was more along the lines of a good working relationship? Well, yeah, but you understand. For Kurt, that was a pretty big deal. And for me as well, for being real. Not like I ever had much in the way of friendship either. So, no. It's not like we hit a pub for beers after our shift or anything. But we had a pretty open channel between us. Relatively, anyway. He treated me as his intellectual equal, undeserved though it was. Well, at least you're self-aware about it. Which is something he usually had a problem with. Intellectual equals and all that. In regards to motive, it was always sort of a vague spot in the prosecution's theory. Bishop was killed because of NX0, but that's it. No real why or how it even relates to my clients. In fact, it was mostly skirted around the entire trial. You were the closest to Bishop, and you knew Graves. Do you have any thoughts? I really wish I did. Motive was something we just couldn't crack. Between the alleged phone call from Shield and the presence of so many relevant individuals. We know he was related to the room and board somehow. I mean, how could it not be? It's what this game's about. We can't very well just ignore it. It's almost a moot point whether or not the motive also stems from the incident. Graves was just... he was the only one who fit with what little evidence we had. And it was reasonable to believe that he could have a motive to kill Bishop. Hell, the guy could be Shield himself for all we know. That's a bit of a stretch, don't you think? Is it, though? I mean, yes, I do believe that. That's why I said it. What? You think Donald Graves is a Shield? What? No, well, look. It isn't as cut and dry as that. He could be Shield. Nathan could be Shield. Damara could be Shield. Literally anybody could be Shield. I know I just said that I don't have any thoughts about motive. But I do have one, truthfully. Alright, lay it on me. Oh... Go on. It's not a very concrete theory, but I think it makes a certain amount of sense. Kurt was obsessed with Shield. What? Did you know he actually headed the investigation into Shield's room and board? That was before the Feds swept in and took over. Yes, I've heard as much. So Kurt left the investigation. But he never let it go. I think Shield fascinated him. Does seem like the sort of case that would really grab a real mystery freak's attention. Anybody who calls their investigative partner a Watson is definitely a mystery freak. You must have heard that Kurt was a genius, right? And he was. No two ways about it. And to him, Sheol was like the final boss or something. Like some sort of final opponent in a video game. Maybe some sort of browser-based fan game of some courtroom drama adventure game series or something. I don't know, I'm just spitballing here. He was the biggest, baddest, most elusive criminal Kurt had ever tried to catch. And I guess he was the Moriarty to Kurt's Holmes. As if I know anything about those stories. You knew that Watson used to be in the army, that's more than I think a complete outsider would get. Alright, now I'm just being paranoid. Kurt could have let NX0 go, even if he'd wanted to. So Bishop was investigating Sheol on his own? Is that what you're getting at? Oh, yeah, that's right. Guess I should finish that thought, shouldn't I? Kurt was investigating Sheol on his own. It was his pet project, so to speak. And he never asked me to be a part of it. And I didn't want to be. But I knew. You never wanted to help him catch Sheol? Oh, I prayed every day that he'd catch the scumbag. Excuse me, my throat's really dry today for some reason. But at the risk of sounding like a broken record, I wanted to move on from the room and board. Anyway, my theory is that Kurt must have found something. Something big. And then Sheol found Kurt. It's only a guess, though. I was gonna say if you didn't. This is not based on any evidence, this is just a thing you basically want to be true because it fits what you already know. I won't say it's not true, but I'm not gonna put that much stock in it until get some concrete evidence one way or the other. What makes you think that? The timing. Think about it. Why was Kurt murdered now? It's been 5 years. Something must have changed. Risk Capera Me1, thank you for following. I'm certainly suspicious of warranty. Welcome to the stream. We're playing an Ace Attorney fan game that's very convoluted. This is the only answer I could come up with. It's an interesting train of thought, to be sure. So you've got to talk about? Good frig. Why is it so noisy? Criminy Jim Jims. You know anything about this letter? Nothing, alright, yeah, we're done here. Well, Detective, this has been a productive chat. Thank you for your time. Eh? We aren't done already, are we? Sorry, but there are a few other things I need to look into. No, I mean... we aren't done here. Right? Come on, Ms. Faye, play ball. I answered all of your questions. Now you answer mine. It's only fair, isn't it? Oh, he has dramatically tightened up since the room and board. I'm almost impressed. What do you want to know? Just a couple things. Your background, for one. I've asked around here, but no one seems to know who you are. I mean, except for your legal aid, whoever that guy over there is. But he's tight-lipped. I just want the important stuff. Where are you from? Do you know Donald Graves, etc.? Also, you and your friend seem to know what the deal is with that bear on the judge's bench. That'd be cool. Walter, hello. Hey, it's good to see you. We're trapped in something that looks quite a bit like a killing game. There's even a Monokuma right over there on the judge's bench. Which is unfortunate. That'd be cool to hear about too, since none of us have any idea what it's there for. And while we're on the topic of me eavesdropping on you, I saw this coming. You didn't seem very surprised when you learned all of the doors out here were locked. In fact, I'm pretty sure you said something along the lines of, "Do I look adequately surprised?" I'd like to know what you meant by that, if you don't mind my asking. You didn't even check the doors either. You just took his word for it. A bit of an odd reaction. Oh, he's good. You are not the same person you were 5 years ago. Monsieur Detective? Well, don't I look sloppy? Well, how about it? Detective, you've been very helpful. And you're right. It's only fair that I scratch your back after you so generously scratched mine. I respect and appreciate your help. So I'll tell you straight. I won't answer any of those questions. Really? You're seriously gonna play me like that? Not even one. Just gonna go out of your way to make yourself as suspicious as humanly possible, huh? I see you're one of those protagonists. Nope. Nope, sorry, I win. That's funny. Sorry, that's how it is. You know, who was this guy I played that game with? Maybe you've heard of him. He was convinced that somehow we could all work together and everything would be fine. I thought he was really stupid. Just a complete pansy. I mean, that guy was the biggest wimp I have ever seen in my entire life. He was a pansy. He was a pussy. People used to come and push him, just the most absolutely pathetic human being I've ever seen. And, what was the point of the story? Oh, a story. Nothing really. I just thought it was funny how much that guy sucked. But I kinda don't anymore. I don't think I was giving him as much credit as he deserved. In a way, he was sorta rebellious. He was braver than us in his own way. And I think there's something to be said trying to throw Shiel's garbage back in his face. That guy's not here right now. And I guess I feel like I owe it to him to try and uphold his dumb legacy. So this does turn out to be Shiel's whatever. And we both think it will. So Roland isn't in this killing game. The way he phrased that discussion earlier, I don't think he's Donald Graves, although the way they talked to him The way they sort of talked around everything about him. I wouldn't be surprised if it turned out he was. So, I'm pretty pissed and I feel like I just got taken advantage of and, screw you, basically. But if you feel like waking it up at some point, I'll listen. I'll think about it. That's a start. Good luck with the rest of your investigation. Thanks. The fireman. She's changed a lot. Please stop repeating my own points back at me. Alright. And then there was one. Given the point we've gone over thus far, I imagine this is going to turn out to be Rochelle. So Charlie's a detective, Nathaniel's the owner of a hospice, and Damara is someone who I imagine was... I don't clearly remember the circumstance in which we learned about Damara. I'm pretty sure Bryce McLean brought her up to us, and, you know, he is a detective, but got them from the public records room. So I imagine she's fairly well known. It could be that the culprit specifically only grabbed people whose identities were a matter of fairly public knowledge. That might give points to it not being Shiel, or it might just be points to Shiel not being omniscient and me drastically overestimating him. And, you know, pattern recognition dictates that this woman here is probably Damara. Survey says... Man, you got a lot of cigarettes. Or pipes, or there. So... it's you. Yep. Yep, that's my name. Don't worry out. You woke up, huh? Yes? That is a thing people generally do when they go to sleep. You know, that's starting to... That's terrible for your lungs. You should really consider not. I was starting to wonder if you'd wake up at all. Seriously? Was I that out of it? Yes. I see. Oh, you're fun to talk to. What are you wearing? People give me a shit for wearing fancy clothes. I'm not very good at small talk these days. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions then? Not at all. You probably have quite a few for me. At the top of your list, I imagine, is who is this rude woman? And is she seriously toking up in the middle of a court of law? And it's not really a court of law anymore. And it won't be until we open those doors again. The thought had crossed my mind. I'm Damara. Oh, maybe Poppet would be more appropriate given the circumstances. See, I knew the thing. And yes, that does seem to be what I'm doing. Can I ask why? It helps take the edge off. It's become a bit of a bad habit, I'll admit. And you're... me, alright? You're that guy's lawyer? eyes. You're talking about Donald Graves, right? Oh, yes, that's right. Was it just me, or do I detect a hint of animosity? Alright, so we know the two of you were probably survivors of the previous killing game. Well, before anything else. I've won more than my share of badges throughout the years. There always comes a day when you take a badge off and never put it on again. And considering that our Mia is a filthy imposter, it's probably gonna be for some time soon. You wouldn't know anything about any of this evidence, would you? Nope. Can tell me about me? About Donnie? You seem to have an opinion on him. She's not speaking to us. Nathan? This is the first time I've seen Nathan in a very long time. He looks... well... for the little good that does him. Never heard of the victim, doesn't surprise me. Somehow, out of all of the four of us, Charlie was the only one to change his life for the better. At least as far as appearances go. Not talking about yourself. Not talking about Shield, not talking about Edgeworth. Okay, that's all I had from you. Get some filler dialogue from looking at the doors. The witness stand. Feels weirdly underutilized for some reason. Is that a meta joke or a piece of evidence? Are we in a different courtroom? Are we in a courtroom at all? It'd be difficult to falsify an entire courtroom, but not impossible. Alright, lady, spill your guts. What can you tell me about yourself, Tamara? There isn't really anything worth talking about. Well, there has to be something. And she looks at me, and I look at her, and she looks at me. I was a soldier once. Okay, that's interesting. So you have a certain set of skills. You were in the army? Really? A Marine, actually. I know I don't look it now. It's something you tend to retire early from. Fighting, anyway. I didn't like the sound of a desk job, so I cut ties completely. That was about 5 years ago now. My, how time flies. About 5 years ago, so you were either a Marine or a very fresh ex-Marine when you were grabbed for the first killing game. How absolutely fascinating. What did Shield want you for? I for a second believed these pics were coincidences. What have you done since then? That's funny. Eh? There's either not a lot or something incredibly plot relevant. So, what's the sitch? Beep 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 beep. What do you think about the situation? I try not to think too much these days. Like this video if you don't think. That wasn't much of an answer, was it? well... Sorry. I should be taking things more seriously. I'm not going to, but I suppose I should be. I don't know what to think about it. Logically speaking. But... whoever is behind it went out of their way to abduct Charlie and I and drag us here. Literally. Drag, there's mud all over the hem of my dress. The two of you were abducted? Well, I don't think they walked in here on their own. So it seems. How do you mean abducted exactly? I mean it in about as straightforward a way as one can. So what, a rag of chloroform over your nose? A figure wearing a black cloak broke into my house and injected me with something nefarious. Oh, we do have that missing bottle of ketamine. How difficult would it be to steal? Steal that ketamine? That could lower down our list of suspects quite a bit. Then I woke up here. I'm sorry. That must have been terrifying. And does it sound that much like Shield's MO? Shield seemed a bit more subtle than that. Not really. Things process a little slower when you're as high as I was. Oh. Yeah, the same thing happened to Charlie, though. He helped me fill in the blanks. Whatever this is, seems that it couldn't happen without us present. I don't doubt it. Needless to say, that doesn't bode well. I still stand by my earlier theory that this game was set up for the sole purpose of luring out or somehow exposing the identity of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like I said, the MO doesn't quite match. It's clear our protagonist is in on something. The fact that Harper's dead is certainly unfortunate, but we know very little about what's going on there. So what's your story with Graves? What beef do you have with him? And how thoroughly cooked is it? I couldn't help but notice that you seem to have some misgivings regarding my client. Am I right? Am I right or am I right? Oh, was it that obvious? Well, it doesn't really matter. It's not like a secret. I just don't trust him. It's nothing all that special. You're holding out on me, and I don't appreciate that when we're in such a crisis situation. Do you trust him less than Teddy or the fireman? Teddy? Or the Oh, you know about that, huh? I really don't know why I didn't see that coming. Maybe give the pipe a rest? Don't smoke, it stunts your growth. I'll think about it. Objection. So about Graves. Right. If I were being honest, I do trust him less than the other two. I shouldn't, though. It doesn't make much sense. Why is that? How much do you know about S.H.I.E.L.D's room and board? Quite a bit, but I'm gonna pretend we don't? Some, close enough. Fine, dodge the question. What do I get in the end? Graves wasn't on our team. Your team. That's what I said? Yes, I know, I was there at the time. Could you elaborate? You are very difficult to commentate over, my good lady. I would like it if you got to the point before everyone left. No, that's the exact opposite of what I asked for. Charlie, Nathan, and I formed a team in the room and board. It's why the three of us lived. A team. I use the term loosely. We had an arrangement. Donald was not a part of our arrangements. That made him the enemy. I suppose I still hold to that even to this day. Again, there's no good reason for it. Could you explain the nature of your arrangement? Why? But why? Well, I don't know, I'm just curious, I guess. That's cruel. Huh? It's all said and done. Sometimes it's best to sleeping dogs lie. I'm kind of on her side of this one. Yeah, you did kind of just ask her to traumatize herself all over again for literally no reason. Speaking of which, how about that Moira, huh? By the way, what's this I've been hearing about a murder? Are you referring to the murder that was being tried before all of this happened? Probably? Charlie wouldn't talk about it much. Said I was unrelated. He's right, of course. Still, I wonder how unrelated I am now that I'm here. You're Graves' attorney, so I assume he is the culprit? He could be. That's not a thing a man's lawyer should be saying, Ms. Faye. Or whatever your name is. My, what a sterling defense. That must be why they pay you the big bucks. You fool. Don't you know? Ace Attorney defense attorneys don't get paid at all. Alright, that one was deserved. I heard that he's in intensive care somewhere. If you ask me, that makes him sound more like the victim than the killer. He fell off a 6-story building. Yep, says that would do it. Murder-suicide. Allegedly. Well, I can wait. I'm sure you can. Wait, what? You relate to murder-suicide. Probably does it 3 times before breakfast. She seems like a busy woman. She was gonna answer the question, but then she got high. In a way. I've killed people, Mia. Quite a few, in fact. When I was a soldier. It's very easy. All you have to do is aim down the sight and pull the trigger. Sometimes someone will say, "Nice shot," or something. Sometimes you get a medal. I don't think about those days anymore. Or those men. But the people who died in Shiel's room and board, I think about them all the time. It's become something of a problem. It wasn't your fault, Damara. Like, literally, it wasn't your fault. You're not the murderer in this case. Or was she? I don't know. Shiel is a great big question mark with literally no details to them. Huh. She was gonna continue that thought, but then she got, She was... Okay, come on, pick up the pace. If I could turn back the clock, do it all over again, I'd kill them all a second time. I'd do it in a heartbeat. That's normal. The ugly truth of the woman known as Damara Rochelle. is that she misses the room and board. She was a good Marine, but her country never mattered much to her. And so the stakes were never all that high. Down in that bunker, though, she felt alive. To her, there was nothing more fulfilling than fighting for her very right to live. And winning. What could be more pure, more divine than that? Nothing is what. And ever since, you could say life has lost some of its luster for her. Okay, so Damara's very obviously too unhinged to be Sheol. But now put it past her to be a murderer. That sort of double bluff is very simple in like intermediate level mysteries. Maybe she's working for Sheol in some capacity. Maybe she's gonna kill somebody for independent reasons. Maybe she's the one who killed Hopper. She's probably not the one who killed Bishop. Nothing would surprise me at this point. So it was very much her fault. And she doesn't regret any of it. Which is a difficult thing to reconcile with all the guilt she thinks she should be feeling. See, you can tell this game is inspired by Zero Escape because there's lots of sequences like the characters just spend long stretches of time explaining their worldviews and thought processes. It's been a while since we got a nice metaphor, though. Pretty those it'll really be a party. I don't know what to say. There isn't anything to say. You have a very good poker face, by the way. Maybe I should invest in some sunglasses as well. Ah, believe me, lady, you don't need them. That's all we have to say to you. Let's jet. Alright, there we have it. 3 people, 3 discussions. I'm gonna talk to you about the 2 people we've learned about recently, just in case. Short-term memory loss, huh? I've heard of worse witnesses, but not many. You talking about the parrot? Of course I'm talking about the parrot. So what do we know about Montclair? He owns a wealthy real estate company as well as Jameson Memorial Hospice. We know he survived the room and board, but couldn't handle the guilt. And we know that he went to the roof of the patient wing that night and got brained. Is this guy culprit material? Not likely. At least at a glance. If he's been in hospice for this long, I don't think he's faking his short-term memory loss, which would make premeditated murder difficult. That rules out Bishop. But God only knows what he could have gotten up to. Anyway, good old Chucky, we finally got hold of him. It took us an entire chapter. Watch out for this guy, Mia. He likes to ask questions. Yeah, I've noticed. I didn't pin the fireman as good detective material, but he seems to have taken it to it pretty well. The question is if he'll work with us or not. And Damara. And she won't even share. Please do not get blazed while we are neck deep in who even knows. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Or am I? I know as well as you that the woman is dangerous. Maybe not at this particular moment in time. Interesting, interesting, interesting. You have anything to say about Damara now that I've got her? Like, actually in the court record? Yes, you do. There was a time in my life when Damara terrified me. She's lost a bit of her edge over the years. Well, maybe more than just a bit. It is difficult to kill people while you're high as a fucking kite. That's all. Alright. And Montclair, do you even remember who either of these people are? Sorry, would you please let Mr. Montclair rest for a moment? I'm sure your questions can wait. I doubt there's anything useful I could get out of him while he's wound up like this anyway. Alright, that's fair. If that's the case, then let's talk to Winters, because I want to put off talking to Edgeworth as long as possible. Because he's kind of a dick. Hey, weren't you over there a few minutes ago? You man, huh? Hello? I'm curious. People have been implying that we're currently victim to some sort of, kidnapping plot. All the doors are sealed shut, my cell phone has been stolen. It's taking all I have to remain calm. Tell me, do I still need to worry about you framing me for murder? Should I add that to the list? Let's have a chat. Yes, let's. Winters seems much angrier than I remember her being. Hopefully I didn't piss her off and then forget about it. You absolutely did, didn't you? Hey, did you know that I'm a lawyer? Do you not have anything better to do? Nope. 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 Don't have anything to say about a person being killed with your drugs. You are a bitter, bitter man. I mean, except for the part where you're not a man of any sort, but you know what I'm... Alright, fine, I'll just... Look at that bear. I hate that bear sucks. I keep waiting for this old jerk to suddenly start moving. Which is... pretty silly, to be honestly. Alright. So what's the sitch? Beep 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 beep. Boom. And I suppose you've got an explanation for all this. The, kidnapping thing, you mean? Oh, so you also think we're in mortal peril. Good, good, really stellar. Oops. Look, we'll figure this out. We will. We'll get out of here. You know, I get the feeling that I'm the only person who's actually anxious about this. Well, everyone else clearly knows something or is planning something. I feel like everyone else here has just accepted it. Am I the odd one out? I get wrapped up in yet another crazy situation. What do you mean, another crazy situation? I picked up on that, but I assumed she was just talking about the trial. But if she wants to break and tell us something, I won't complain. What do you mean, what do you mean? What do you think you mean? What do you mean, what do you mean? What do you mean, what do you mean, what do you mean? What do you mean, 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 what do you... Last week was completely normal. This week has been insane. I wasn't prepared for a race against a hurricane, or quintuple overtime, or not going home for 6 days. I was prepared to administer first aid, to visit her body, discuss a murder. I didn't think I'd be spending my week in an interrogation rooms or murder trials. Now this, what even is this? What's going on? August 27th. Storm hit on July 17th. July 18th? A week. Does that timeline work out? I don't remember what day today is, but that feels like a weird length of time to bring up. Yeah, wow, it sounds pretty bad when you lay it all out like that. I thought the hurricane was a nice, happy, fun time, shows what I know. Sorry, you've had to go through all this, Winters. No, you're not. I'm just a stranger to you. You've made that clear. Well, have you ever actually been properly introduced? What difference does it make? I don't know. Like you said, we don't really know anything about each other. Maybe it'll help? For what it's worth, I'm Mia Fey, attorney at, Law! Attorney at law! Yes, that's the thing I am. I'm not an imposter. Definitely not used to introducing myself like that. Man, you are so bad at this. Catherine Winters. I'm a senior nurse at Jameson Memorial Hospice. Only 30 years old, too. Senior, huh? So you've worked there for a while? Since it opened. That was 5 years ago, if I recall. And how's the work? Challenge? Do you enjoy it? What is this, a job interview? I just feel like we got off on the wrong foot is all. Yeah, and whose fault is that? I mean, I'd say it was mostly Edgeworth's. He's the one who, refused to put any other suspects in the case. Withheld all the information. Dick. In regards to the trial, I feel like I owe you an explanation. Despite the fact that I am still heavily suspicious of you. Such magnanimity. I am going to pretend I know what that word means. Let me explain my perspective on the matter. At a glance, you look almost entirely unrelated to this case. Really? Almost. Yes, almost. It almost looks like you got wrapped up in this by virtue of proximity alone. Honestly, I would be first in line to say that you don't feel like the murderer. How nice of you to say. However, I am not able to simply ignore the facts of the case. You were in the perfect position to commit the murder that night. And maybe you really were there only by circumstance, but either way, it's something that requires my attention. That's ridiculous. Not an idiot, I understand how our legal system works. Your only obligation is to your client. And since you bungled that so badly, now you're trying to get someone to take the fall. See, it's lines like that. It's lines like that make me seriously think you have no idea what you've stumbled into. Why are you staring at me like that? No reason. Do I think Winters is actually involved with all this? I want to say no, but I can't afford to be careless. I feel like she's got to have some connection to all this. And they wouldn't have put her in the game, you know? There's that photograph I found in her office to consider as well. She's obviously related, but I can't say how closely. Time to rip this bandage off, too. Winters, I'll be straight with you. You had an opportunity to kill Bishop, and that's a concrete reason to suspect you. But there's also another reason. Something I'd like to think you're unaware of. And honestly, this other reason may just be a misunderstanding. If you would answer questions truthfully, it would go a long way towards proving your innocence. That day, my associate and I were at the hospice. I happened to find myself in your office, Winters. Oh good, you went through all my stuff. Great. Alright, no need to answer every question with a snarky one-liner. You gotta have some sort of character. It really was just a That's not the point. The point is, I found a peculiar photograph in your office. It was of a woman. She's wearing a red sweater, smiling in a park or something. Uh-huh. Look, I know you don't have a great track record when it comes to making sense, but I really don't know where you're going with this. Who's the woman in the photo? What does that have to do with literally anything? Do you know this woman? Well, obviously, I have a picture of her in my office. Is she family? Is it any of your business? Look around you, Winters. Whether or not it's any of my business should be the least of your worries. This woman is a key piece in the puzzle to this entire case. Get out of my sight. How do I close your dim way? There we go. What? Oh, come on. We're done here, I think. Don't brush me off. I am trying to cross you off the list of suspects. You were just trying to pin a murder on me. This conversation is over. Suppose you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. Winters. What is it now? The person who murdered her is here in this courtroom. What? You heard me. Although, I wonder if you even knew she was murdered. Is she still listed as missing? Or was there a funeral? If there was, I imagine it would have been a closed casket affair. No body would have been recovered, after all. So they didn't find the bodies. Interesting. It means it's entirely possible that one or all of them are still alive. Which affects my calculus quite a bit. The hell are you talking about? I think you know. And if I'm wrong, and you don't, I must look like a lunatic. Her reaction was pretty spot on, though. Why would you even say something like that? Why is your angry expression you smiling? That seems weird. I wasn't kidding around when I said that woman is at the heart of the murder. And your connection to her is your connection to Kurt Bishop's death. I've been uncertain until now, but if you don't tell me what you know about the woman in that photo... No more holding back. Piss off. Fine. But if you feel like doing something about your situation, I'm sure I'll be right here. She's someone suspicious. I'm not sure if she's the culprit or not, but she obviously knows more than she's letting on. I'll get myself. Just one more stop. Oh, I was not looking forward to this. Well, got a lot of band-aids we gotta rip off. Let's head in. Well, 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 well. Fucking hell, all of the music in this game is so loud. Work on your audio levels. If it isn't the real, actual, in the flesh Mia Fey, here to talk to me, the real, actual Miles Edgeworth. Golly, it's been a while, hasn't it? How's that guy doing? You know, the prisoner guy in the bridge case. What was his name again? Terry Crews. Wait, no, that's a real person. I can't help but feel that you aren't holding up your half of this playful banter, Miss Fey. Come on, no. We need to pad our frame count somehow. Motherfucker, will you get off the fourth wall? You tree little bitch. I know I shouldn't have come over here. Did you know I'm a real genuine defense attorney? Oh! It's the obligatory badge present! Wow. This is... I'm actually getting a little bit emotional. Kinda weirdo. I'm flattered that you think I care. Yep. Seems in character for you. My, the core is looking really good for some reason. Dynamic even, maybe they buffed the floors or something? Man, I don't like these sorts of like, ahaha, I'm so wacky, I have fourth wall awareness characters. Especially if they don't have any sort of actual, like, other characterization. Edgeworth's not funny, he's just a dick. Get a pretty good getup. Kinda dips into the uncanny valley for me though, just on principle. Need a pretty stated affliction for exactly one person in situations like these. I mean, this isn't quite the same, but I think we can cross that trip off the checklist anyway. I hate you, I hate listening to you talk, why am I doing this to myself? I'm flattered that you think I care that anyone here is dead. God damn, I need to shave this thing off. I want me to never do this again. Is it weird to think that her story is more tragic than Mr. Forgetful over here? Yes, considerably. I don't know. Maybe because that guy treads dangerously into comic relief territory. Which is shockingly inappropriate now that I think about it. Whoever's responsible for this should really be ashamed of themselves. Have you noticed that this guy actually pulls off the Edgeworth hair? How does he even do that? It makes basically no sense. Oh, what even happened to this guy? Like, why was he a part of this thing at all? Oh shit, he's the true killer, isn't he? I'm pretty sure the case just wouldn't have worked if there wasn't a second pair of hands to do the stuff he did, while Cat was otherwise indisposed. You're really bad at this. Man, I just can't get over how innocent this woman is. Really, you'd have to be an idiot to think this upstanding citizen is guilty of anything. You are really bad at this. Alright, let's get this over with. Just who are you really? Just who are you really? And he looks at me, and I look at him, and he looks at me, and I look at him, and he looks at me, and I look. Alrighty then. So do. Since that last talk convo went so well, I'm sure this one will be just as productive. Will you fucking stop that? Get a real personality, Jesus. One is funny, an entire character is just tedious. Here goes. Just what is it that you're scheming, Mia? It's my line, thank you. Oh, come on, let's be adults here. It's a simple process of elimination. It's not me who's responsible for this DR junk, so it must be you. Funny, by that same logic, you must be the culprit. Look, no one else is close enough to hear this conversation, so just tell me what it is that you want. I want to know what you think you're gaining by kidnapping us and setting us up, whatever this is. And frankly, I'm insulted that you think I'm gullible enough to believe your acts. Jeez, you're obstinate, aren't you? The feeling's mutual. And he looks at me. What a boring villain you are. This guy is unbelievable. Okay, so I realize this is the pot calling the kettle black, but why does your name not match your appearance? I'll tell you what. I'll answer that question truthfully if you do the same. Why do any of these conversations exist in this game? Deal. How uncharacteristically cooperative of you. Yeah, right back at you, cat. You go first. Alright, fine. The truth is, the Shigaraki getup was a last-minute decision. I happened to have been at the hospice yesterday while you and your sidekick were running around. And I was like, oh damn, I gotta get in on this. It's nice to know you're taking this murder investigation so seriously. So I spent a few hours getting in on that. Heck, you can ask Winters if you don't believe me. You've probably been wondering how I grew so much hair in the past 24 hours. That doesn't explain why your name doesn't match. If you ever tried shopping around for a pink suit and cravats... No, scratch that. Have you ever tried looting flooded boutiques for a pink suit and cravats? Yeah, I figured I may as well just take the L and improvise. Plus, I kinda just look like Shigekaki Raymond Shields. So then why use the name Edgeworth at all? Cause that was the pseudonym that I had written on all of the paperwork up until that point. You think I'm stupid enough to tell anyone here my real name? I knew what I was getting into. I've used Miles Edgeworth as a pseudonym before. It suits me. Also felt appropriate in this case. I cannot possibly imagine a name that suits you less. You mean because you're the antagonist? What? No, like AI Edgeworth. Come on, Mia, give me some credit. But enough about me. Yeah. It was basically for the same reason. We didn't want anyone to figure out who we were. Which is technically the truth. Yeah, the full body costumes? You'd have to be celebrities for that to not be excessive. It's a hobby, he tells me. And yet you don't look much like Mia Fey to me. Mia costume exists, but it's what you might call... top-heavy. And then we just stared at each other some more. That's why. Oh man, I was trying so hard to figure this out, and that's why. Oh, good gravy. This has gotten so stupidly confusing for no reason. Finally, something we can agree on. Boy, this sure was a good use of my time. Hey. Wait. Before you go, there's something I'd like to say. Something unusually sincere for me. Oh boy, I can't wait to never get used to this. Mia Fey. Or rather, whoever you are behind that cheeky facade. I get it. I understand. You and I are here for the exact same reason, I think. You and I. We're two sides of the same coin, wouldn't you say? I'd appreciate it a bit more if you had some more original material. Opposites, and yet one and the same. Now, that's a pretty tired metaphor at this point. What can I say? I'm a man of the classics. Heads or tails? One will come out on top. Yeesh. No. I think I'm done with that metaphor after all. Yikes, that was lame. Basically, I'm expecting great things from you. Whoever you are. Let's make this one for the books, What in the world are you talking about? What indeed? Forget it. This guy's a lunatic. So he's obviously not the criminal, because they're pushing him way too hard. So who is he then? I guess that's it for now. Hey, I'm done. Oh yeah? Cool. I haven't made any progress, you can plainly see. Man, you are useless. What I wouldn't give for a crowbar. I want some help? I would love some help, actually. With our powers combined, we can guess twice as blindly. Okay, better idea. You grab that side, I'll grab this side, and we wrench this thing open. Makes me proud to know that your first response is violence. Oh, shut up and pull. On three, ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, no, look, you're just pulling me across the floor now. That ain't my fault, Noodle Arms. Raise yourself on something, why don't you? Is this thing a suitcase? Are you even holding, like, where are you even hooking your fingers onto? Your fingernails are not that strong, you're gonna rip something. This is gonna get super painful. Makes you sorry I was the movies. Wait, you were the movies? The entire movie? Anyway, we finished talking to the other witnesses. Charlie Klein is way smarter than he was 5 years ago during the first Killing game. He was eavesdropping on us and he knows we were planning something. That's curious. As I suspected, Mara Rochelle was Poppet, the third person in the courtroom. She's an ex-Marine who gave up like around the time of the room and board. And she admits that she's a bit of an adrenaline junkie who doesn't feel guilty and in fact misses having been in the room and board. Obviously too unhinged to be the culprit, but I wouldn't put it past her to do some mischief along the way. Also, that pipe she has is in fact full of marijuana. We finally confronted Catherine Winters about her picture of Doc, one of the people who died. She refused to tell us literally anything, which is very suspicious. And also, we did get confirmation that the bodies of the people who didn't make it to the room and board were never recovered. Of course, I don't need to tell you that introduces the possibility that none of them, or at least one of them, is not dead. And lastly, Edgeworth is even more obnoxious when he's going off script than he is when he's on. And he insists that he thinks that we're the culprit behind the kidnapping. But that, quote-unquote, he gets it and that he has the same goal as us. Of course, the logical explanation for that paradox would be that neither of us is the culprit behind the kidnapping. But we clearly showed them foreknowledge that it was going to happen. Anyway, right now we and Diego are wrestling with that probable dying message suitcase that Kurt Bishop, the dead police detective, left us. If I missed anything you're curious about, feel free to speak up. Our kidnapper better hurry up and do something before this musclehead pulls my... Sorry, I had something in my throat. Our kidnapper better hurry up and do something before this musclehead pulls my arms off. Famous last words. Famous end of chapter. Chapter 5 is entitled Cubic Zirconia. The fake diamond. I mean, that could mean anything at this point. Alright, are you going to load or... okay. Everything's loaded fine and dandy. I love it when things work. Let's go. Let's go. Thank you. Thank you, my child. Tragedy indeed. That innocence, if ever it was, can be stripped away. Without a warning. Time to do the voice changer effect. Life is simply unfair, don't you think? To speak nothing of fate, nor destiny. There are moments when a single snail can... No, that's really dumb. Oh, never mind. The greatest misfortunes are built by human hands. Hey, that's the thing I did our hype shot for. You are here, for example, by my decision, and my decision alone. I accept your blame and your anger for what will transpire here. My God, metamorphosizing. And I will not apologize. You are here for a reason. A necessity. I must punish them. For the innocent lives they sacrificed. This is the only warning they will receive. That innocent souls might be saved. I now state the truth. Life is simply unfair. It does not need to be. They will die to balance the scales. I will kill them. That is destiny. Man, that is a ridiculously detailed Monokuma plushie. As for the rest of you, your willingness to cooperate is the only thing standing between you and death. Now, do I have your attention? I don't buy a word of what they just said. I don't think this is just a killing game intended to kill the people who survived the last killing game. For one thing, Mia clearly knows something. And I don't think she's on S.H.I.E.L.'s side, or the side of, like, anybody who would kill people. We have been inside her head for too long. Well, it's nice to know Diego's enjoying himself at least. Right, well. Uh-huh. Yeah, yes, indeed. So, did anyone glean anything from that clearly evil monologue? Or, well, isn't this nostalgic? It's worth pointing out that it isn't the same voice modulator he used. Well, I wish you'd told me that before I did that whole voice sequence. Now it's too late, I'm not reloading and doing all that again. I respect my own time too much. Not that I think it matters any. Here we go again, huh? So it seems. Penny for your thoughts, Nathan. Buddy, does your brain still work? Ah, shame. I could use a cheap laugh right about now. Could someone please explain what is going on? We cooperate, or we die. Simple enough, depending on what our cooperation entails. This is nuts. I don't have enough facial expressions in my spreadsheet to express what I'm actually feeling. Is it now? Guys, it looks to me like you're the only one who didn't see this coming. But back to my question. Did anyone get anything from that message? Like, I don't know, why we're here, or maybe even what we're supposed to do? The guy all but admitted he was the one who trapped us here. Did he though? Did he really? Charlie, I just said how impressed I was by your progress. Come on, man. They said they mean to punish someone. One of us, I'm guessing? Sounded pretty self-righteous to me. They could mean the person who killed Detective Bishop. They interrupted the trial for his murder, after all. Well, why don't we ask and find out? Uh-huh. Wasn't that a recording just now? Could be. We won't know if we can communicate with them unless we try. It doesn't strike me as his style, but you have a point. Well, Sheol, are you listening? Okay, good talk. Well, they did show a camera inside his eye, so it could be that they're not talking to us. Of course, anything is possible at this point. It was worth a shot anyway. Frankly, it wasn't the worst idea I've heard from the defense today. Last one was really low. Maybe, since someone's in a Monokuma, I should maybe go, like, sort of high and vibraty. I am Torgo. The master would not approve. I am not Sheol. Yes. Told you. I didn't think that was gonna work, actually. Me neither. Not Sheol, huh? Sorry, but I don't believe that for a second. Yes, well, that's because you're a meathead. Not only did you kidnap a group of people, but you specifically targeted us. I'm gonna need to see some pretty convincing proof to believe you aren't him. I don't need to prove anything to you, fireman. I just need you to do as I say. You claim you aren't Sheol. So then, who are you? I believe I understand the conventions of this circle. Therefore, refer to me as Zero. You are laying it on very thick, this portion. Alright then, Zero. Don't you think it's time you told us what's going on here? I'm a busy guy, see? Let's keep this thing moving, huh? Your sarcasm is not appreciated, prosecutor. But very well. I will explain. Here, in this courtroom, we will hold a trial. A class trial, if you will. A trial? In a sense, although law and procedure mean little to me. I don't really care how you do it, so long as I get the result I desire. And that is simple. One among you is Sheol. You will determine who, and bring them to me. Fucking hell, every song is louder than the last. My ears, God. Wait, what? Hold on now, are you kidding me? You're just gonna drop that on us? How could you possibly know something like that? I'm quite curious as well. You have a reason to suspect one of us, right? Why don't you share the class? I will not tell you any more than is necessary. I will say that my motives are complex, and leave it at that. Alright, now you're pushing it. Are you seriously memeing? Now. At me. Hello, Pot. I'm glad you've met Kettle. Alright, I ain't doing anything this guy says. Is that wise, I wonder? Sheol is here, in this room. I can't say I'm not intrigued. Alright, sure. If he's telling the truth. There's also no reason to believe this isn't just Sheol screwing with us. Truthfully, I cannot make you take action, and I cannot make you believe what I'm saying. I will merely finish explaining the rules, and then I will let you all decide for yourselves. Acceptable? Just get on with it. Get on with it. Very well. This trial will have a time limit. 90 minutes. That is all my patience can afford you. 90 minutes? That's all? And if we don't uncover the identity of this infamously elusive criminal in an hour and a half, what happens? If Sheol is not caught within the time limits, then I will consider the trial a failure. And I will kill all of you, to ensure that Sheol is well and truly dead. What? Figures, I'm too high to really care about anything you're talking about. Figures, how can you be so nonchalant about this? Yeah, no one here really cares about you. What the hell is wrong with you all? I don't... Hey, Bear Zero. I don't belong here, alright? I'm not involved with any of this. Any of these people. I don't even know who this Shield person is. And Nathan, he can't do anything for you in his condition, so please, just understand that I am not here to bring you suffering. Rather, I am here to prevent such a fate. Not merely for you, but for everyone. However, allow me to reiterate, life is simply unfair. Life is not a fun fair. That's a completely different sensation. You are not all going to a fun fair after this. And to that end, your 90 minutes start now. Attempts to flee or tamper with this bear will be met with death. No exceptions. That is all. Good hunting. Click. Beep, 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 beep. Monocule powered by Verizon Wireless. I mean, that would explain why we lost connection suddenly. So get on with it. This guy's still here. Why would I not be? Silently watching from afar is a pretty staple villain move. And as I have already explained, I am no villain. I am here to catch Sheol. Why would I not assist with my own plan? Alright then, smart guy, got any bright ideas floating around in that machine-washable noggin of yours? I think he is machine-washable, actually, Diego. He's probably, like, got lots of sensitive electronics inside him. I have been keeping tabs on this case. There is no shortage of mysteries from which to begin. My life is not at stake here, however, so I will defer to your judgments. Gee, thanks. Anyone got any actual ideas? 1, 2, 3, not it. Actual ideas, anyone. Seriously. Well, I've got no one if no one else feels like speaking up. You and Miss Faye. Who are you two exactly? Watch right into that one. Good going, Diego. I made to throw that same question at the prosecution. My assistant and I won't be answering any questions before Edgeworth does. Not suspicious. How forthcoming of you, Mia Fey. Tisk tisk. Dodging questions, using aliases, wearing sunglasses indoors. Just point out that if you were trying to avoid being suspicious, that's the one thing you wouldn't do. Could be any more suspicious. What's this about an alias? Oh, I can assure you, Mia Fey is not this woman's real name. Hold on, what? Oh, look who's talking, edgy. Oh, what seems to be the problem? Are you perhaps referring to the fact that Miles Edgeworth is an alias as well? 'Cause I got no problem admitting that. I'm open like a book. Okay, wait, what? It's nothing too complicated. The defense team, in addition to myself, have been concealing their true identities. That's all. Okay, you got my attention. Now where are you going with this? Yeah, Edgeworth, where are you going with this? No, Miss Fay and Mr. Armando over there will certainly deny this is the case. Really, I could be lying just to throw some dirt around. It's possible. But judging by our dear captor's dashing good looks, I'm fairly sure he agrees with me. So I take just my word for it. Somehow, I'm more lost than I was a minute ago. Well, Zero, care to illuminate the rest of us? I don't know what your aim is, Prosecutor, but I'll play along. Mia Fey, Diego Armando, and Miles Edgeworth are all names of fictional characters. As for why these three individuals are borrowing their names and likenesses, I mean, we're not. Is that foreshadowing that your camera doesn't actually work, or is this just simplification for the sake of making the game move? Because God knows Acid Rain's never been concerned about that before now. As for why these three are borrowing these individuals' names and likenesses, I could not say. And there you have it. How much frickin' push do you have in there, Criminy? And we're supposed to figure out who among us is Shield, right? He's saying that three of them are the most likely suspects. Close, Detective, but not quite. You see, I'm willing to come clean and lay everything out on the table. And in doing so, I can prove that I am not Shield. And why should we believe you? Sure, I admit that Mia Fey isn't my real name, fine. Being upfront about some things doesn't mean you won't lie about others. An excellent point, Mia. Unfortunately for you, Zero can back me up on this as well. The two of you make a suspiciously good team, don't ya? How flattering. Now, Zero, I can only assume you were the one who took most of our belongings, correct? It only stands to reason then that you also went through said belongings, right? This is true. Then you must have seen what I keep in my back pocket, yes? Would you be so kind as to tell the court what you found? I am not your mouthpiece, prosecutor. This is the last time. Pinky swear. The prosecutor keeps his ID card and his badge in his back pockets. What? What? Badge? Badge for what? I am so very glad you asked. Ta-da! I'm a bona fide FBI agent. What? Des, you gotta be kidding me. I don't. Show me that thing. With pleasure. I guess we just gotta back off camera. Here, catch. Department of Investigation, FBI. Miles Murdoch? Oh, fuck you. Federal prosecutor? That's a wing? Alright, that was actually kind of funny. Just takes one look at him and just takes off his... Just puts down the weed. Yeah, I think I've had enough. Look, I know I don't have the most sterling personality, and that's certainly one word for it. But I swore to uphold the truth and justice when I accepted that badge. And I intend to do just that. Alright, I'm more suspicious of you now than I were when you were, like, keeping everything from us. I've been chasing Shield for 5 long years. And now it's come to this. I ask you all, put your faith in me. No one will get hurt, I promise you. Laying it on a bit thick, aren't you? Just leave it to me. We're all going to get out of here. Together. Hold on a minute here. The feds? That doesn't make any sense. The first thing we did as part of our investigation was contact the FBI. What were you good for? Nothing. Can't trust the legit authorities in a mystery story. What the hell is wrong with you all? You wouldn't spare even one agent to help with the city and the condition it's in. So you're telling me that was a crock of bull, huh? Well, no, it wasn't. I'm not exactly here on the record, so to speak. Call it a matter of personal interest. I got you in a few favors in order to serve as the prosecution. Either way, I'm not supposed to be here, hence the fake name. I didn't really know what I expected to find by coming here, but little did I know that my target would so easily present herself to me. Yep, just accuse us based on nothing. I see how it is. God damn it. Damn it! This is bad. No, this is about as bad as things could get. The FBI? You have to be kidding me. This is insufferable. God damn it! I know what he's about to do, but I can't stop it. Well, you've heard my side of the story. Your turn, Mia Fey. Who are you? And why did you find it necessary to conceal your identity? We'd all love to know. Oi. Mia. The hell are we gonna do? So Murdoch is yet another, like, ham-fisted reference to mystery fiction, which means there's a decent chance that badge is fake. It's not like we can go check at this point. God only knows. I still don't think Murdoch or Edgeworth or whatever in God's name his name is the culprits. That'd be far too obvious. But I don't think he's being honest now, either. Actually, our course of action is pretty straightforward. Really, there's only one thing we can do. Needless to say, your hesitancy reflects quite badly on you. I am waiting, Miss Fey. How about you two cotton ball wearing assholes simmer the hell down a minute, huh? You're just itching to pack us away for good, ain't ya? You two in cahoots or what? I see no reason to prolong the inevitable. But I prolong my fist in your face. Yeah, fight! Fight, 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 fight! What? Yo, I can't stall this forever. I'm going to answer those questions with a few of my own. Oh, you're gonna try and fast-talk your way out of it, in other words. Hear me out first and make your judgments after. Now, does anyone here know how to spell a real FBI badge? Thank God Mia has baseline competency. It's a bit touch and go at the end of the last trial section, but we're back now. Oh, come on, really? Yes, really! How are we supposed to know if that ID is real or counterfeit? Miles Edgeworth, Miles Murdoch. Who's to say both of those aren't aliases? But really, that's beside the point. Who cares if you're FBI or CIA or whatever? The question we're trying to answer here is who is S.H.I.E.L.D.? Being a Fed doesn't exclude you from that lineup. In fact, S.H.I.E.L.D. being an FBI agent answers a lot of questions about his infamous elusiveness. She does have a point. She's grasping. She's throwing this tantrum to distract us from the fact that she doesn't want to tell us who she is. And why does she not want to tell us? Say it's obvious. It's because you, Mia Fey, are S.H.I.E.L.D. You can consider that a formal accusation. Oh, and your little buddy is too. You looking to throw hands, Murdoch? FBI or not, I'll ruffle your feathers if I've gotta. But that won't be necessary, Diego. This can easily be solved with a little critical thinking. I could tell you all my real name, but I could lie about it just as easily. So, why even bother? But I will say this. Just as the prosecution claims, and just as Zero claimed before him, we're here on a hunt. He and I are here to catch S.H.I.E.L.D. We've heard that line a few times now, but it's the truth. You're free to believe me or not. And although I have my suspicions about an all but nameless man who is trying to end this trial swiftly, by speaking first and using unnaturally aggressive rhetoric to pile suspicion on my partner and I prefer to do things properly. Properly? What was proper about trying to frame me for murder a few hours ago? As I said, our objective was to find S.H.I.E.L.D. even before Zero stepped in. Our best chance of doing that was through the trial, and through solving Bishop's murder. We needed to find a lead before a verdict was handed down, which was made difficult by a certain someone trying to rush things to a premature conclusion. That's not even close to true and you know it. In fact, if I recall correctly, it was you who was steering that trial. What? You're accusing me of being underhanded. You refused to let the court hear key witness testimony. Twice. That's withholding evidence. That is a stone-cold lie, Mia Fey. You know as well as I do that I brought Winters to the stand. Voluntarily. I can't believe what I'm hearing. Do you seriously expect anyone to believe... The only people who can back me up are Tower and Harper. Tower's obviously biased, and Harper... I don't... Ah, damn. Is that a motive, Harper to have been murdered intentionally? It'd make a lot of sense, I think. The closest thing to a lead we've gotten all game. Curiouser and curiouser. And of course, Tower's our mysterious friend who isn't even in the court record anymore. That's obnoxious. Cat got your tongue, Mia? For those of you who weren't present earlier, let it be known, this woman fights dirty. You absolute lying whore. Alright, you're clearly not here to solve the case fairly, I can tell that much. Exhibit A. Thorough bullying and flagrant disregard of legal standards. Ms. Fey dragged a mentally ill, not to mention injured man to the witness stand. Exhibit B. Without even a whisper of conclusive evidence or testimony, Miss Fay sought to have Catherine Winters charged with murder to, by her own admission, stall the trial. By all accounts, these maneuvers should not have been permissible in a court of law. And yet, Montclair is here, and Winters certainly knows where she stands with Miss Fay. And those are only the points I have evidence of as far as Miss Fay's mishandling of the case goes. Just... what the hell is happening right now? This guy is... he's lying. There's no two ways about it. He's trying to drag my name through the mud. Make me look as bad as possible. Given the circumstances, there's only one reason he could have to do that. He's trying to get me killed. Oh, Edgeworth, I knew I didn't like you. Nah, bringing things back around. Your logic holds a certain amount of water, I suppose. You're right. We can't exactly confirm your identity here. Or mine, for that matter. But is it enough to shake the spotlight? I think not. Like it or not, you're still plainly keeping secrets. Clearly got an agenda, too. Compared to me, or anyone else here, you're Sheol. There's really no other way to look at it. I can't believe everyone's going to fall for this. If you're so sure, then why don't we test that theory? It's all or nothing. Zero. Yes. You said we needed to determine the identity of Sheol. I'll ask plainly, have we done that? Not to my standards. In other words, we need something more than fake names and so-called agendas. It is up to you to convince me of Sheol's true identity. I don't care how. At the moment, I am not yet convinced. And it bears no repeating that, if you are unable to sway me, you will all die. There. Either we find a better approach, or it's game over. Convinced? A better approach? Hey, look, Mia. You're the most suspicious person here, and I want to know why. What could possibly be a better approach than that? Sheol is never going to confess because confessing means death. We need to prove the identity of Sheol through evidence. And there's one piece of evidence in particular that bears investigating. Well, if it's something that's present here that we could look at, I'd imagine it's Harper's body. Wait, no, that's not right. Think, has Sheol tried to influence this case in any way? I'd find the call. Obviously, I'm talking about the phone call Graves and Montclair received from Sheol. If we can figure out what Sheol's goal was by bringing these two to the hospice, that would definitely bring us a step closer to Sheol's identity. I think you mean allegedly received from Sheol. We've got no clue who it was that called, and there doesn't seem to be any way to find out. About that. See, you did know something about the case, didn't? You shoulda just talked to me. It would have made this a lot quicker and less painless. What if I could confirm it was Sheol? Oh? I thought we weren't going to talk about that. The situation's kinda different now, Tamara. Let's talk about what? Are you telling me you know something about this phone call? Because if you are, that means you were withholding information from the investigation. Which, of course, would be obstruction of justice. So I recommend choosing your words very carefully. Didn't you just admit to finessing your position in the FBI for personal interest? Oh, right. Pretty sure no one is particularly concerned with the letter of the law at the moment. Yeah, well, basically, Shield contacted us as well. So Shield was trying to grab everybody who's not dead yet. Assuming I'm right about guy in the hospital. Graves, the other guy, the guy in the Nevada. You know who I mean, you know who I mean. Being the remaining known survivor. Gasp. Yeah. It wasn't just Graves and Nathan. Shield wanted all four of us to go to the hospice that night. And you decided to keep this information to yourselves because... I mean, Damara was freaking high as a kite. I don't think she could have made an appointment anyway. Why do you think? Shield told us not to tell. And neither of us actually went to the meeting. It sounded like we were withholding case-critical information. So you obeyed Shield's orders to not tell anyone, but you didn't when he told you to go to the hospice. It wasn't so much as an order to go as it was an invitation. And the four of us agreed that we weren't going to go, so... Wait, hold on, what? Man, back up a sec. Why don't you just start from the beginning? Make this easy for all of us. Right. It was the 12th. 5 days before the murder. My phone started to ring. It was a number I didn't recognize, so I let it go to voicemail. They didn't leave a message, but a few minutes later they call back. This time I pick up. The second I heard his voice, it all came flooding back. Oh man, he played the old boomerang logo. And it was all coming back to him. He told me how nice it was to hear my voice again, among other nonsense. He said he would be on the patient wing rooftop of Jameson Memorial at midnight in 5 days. He said I was welcome to stop by and chat if I wanted. But what? I don't know. I didn't say a word to him on the phone. He just said his piece and hung up. How's the case going? Well... Edgeworth is attempting to frame us for being Shield. Like, really deliberately framing, like, intentionally lying. So that's fun. And he warned me not to tell any of my colleagues about our conversation. I had a similar experience, to put it simply. I remember that I sat and thought for a while. Then, later that evening, picked up my phone again and called Damara. I hadn't considered it at the time, but as you know, she'd also been contacted by Shield. And I told him as much over the phone. We talked it over for a while, and wondered if the other two had also heard from our old nemesis. Imagine being the sort of person who has an old nemesis in the year of our Lord 2019. I mean, really. What a friggin' life you've led. We conference called Donald shortly thereafter, I believe. That's right. He'd heard from Shield as well, as we all know. We talked things over for a while. Eventually, we made a deal. None of us would meet with Shield. You all agreed not to meet with Shield. Why? Well, 2 reasons. For one, it was undeniably dangerous. Who knew what he was planning? And 2, will you stop smoking so much? God. You're gonna add like an entire hour to this playthrough just by yourself. And 2, fuck that guy. We weren't gonna let him jerk us around any longer. And he obviously wanted to see us for some reason. We all agreed to ignore him, as a way to stick it to the man, so to speak. And yet it appears Mr. Graves was not inclined to follow through on this agreement. No, it appears not. Any idea why he decided to go back on his word? Maybe he was simply more desperate for answers than we were. We had Nathan's number as well, but I didn't really know if it was a good idea to call. So the 3 of us made an arrangement to go see him in person 2 days later. And did you? Of course. We figured he would probably forget all about it, but we wanted to warn him anyway. Shield would allegedly be passing through his residence after all. And yet, it appears Mr. Montclair had put enough away to remember to attend the meeting after all. Do you remember speaking to the 3 of them, Mr. Montclair? He's dead. He's actually dead now. Nathan, are you alright? Pardon? Apologies. Was someone addressing me? Do you remember speaking with Donald Grace, Tamara Rochelle, and Charlie Klein a week ago? No? That's not exactly surprising. The meeting did occur, however. For what little good it did. Well, you two. That was nothing if not interesting, however. I don't see how any of that proves it was Shield himself who called. Nothing you've said discredits the notion that it was someone else imitating his voice modulation. Right. Right. Yeah, to be honest, I don't know what you mean either, Charlie. Before your hesitancy overcomes you, I would like to point out, you have 82 minutes remaining. Oh, we've burned through 8 minutes already? Detective Klein. Before the room and board, I worked for some pretty shady people, let's say. In short, when Shield nabbed me 5 years ago, I was on my way to a transaction of sorts. And I was carrying some stuff. He was carrying illegal black market Lego resales. The Fiend. You think you know a guy. How upsetting. Yeah, but those 500 grams I had on me were gone when I woke up in the room and board. How many Legos would it take to weigh 500 grams? It never came up, and I've never told anyone. Especially not the LAPD or the FBI. Oh, when Shield called me a week ago, he jokingly asked if I was still dealing. That's how I know for certain. The person who was on the other end was really Shield. Couldn't it have been one of your business partners? No doubt. They're all in prison now. I put them there, in fact. They ain't involved with anything anymore. That checks out to me. Provided he's telling the truth, of course. I didn't notice anything off about his logic, either. So the firemen used to be involved in that sort of thing, huh? You know, that sort of thing. The sort of thing you can't talk about on Ace Attorney Online for censorship reasons. That's interesting, but not exactly relevant. We definitely just learned some important new info, though. It's definitely the real Sheol. He called all 4 of them. They all agreed not to go, but Donald Graves broke their agreements. Now that we all agree the caller was likely Sheol, here's what I was thinking. I was about to say, according to Mia's character sheet, she was only 19 when the ruin board first happened, but I imagine we're all assuming that is a fake age to go with her fake name. Why did Sheol call the 4 survivors to the rooftop? You want to solve Kurt Bishop's murder, in other words. I don't disagree with that plan, per se, but I've gotta wonder. Finding Sheol via Bishop's murder means unraveling this entire mystery. What makes you think we're even equipped to do that? Not much, I guess. At least she's being honest. But if no one has a better idea, then we're just going to have to make it happen. Yeah, but do we have anything at all going for us here? And in case you forgot, I haven't suddenly stopped thinking you two were Sheol. I hope you don't expect us to just do as you say. Talk about a fox in the henhouse. Well, obviously the brunt of the work will fall to you and I. You aren't necessarily prosecuting Graves anymore, and I don't need to defend him, so... Okay, yeah, but did you get to the point where I literally think you're a serial killer? And for the record, I legit think Donald Graves is the culprit. Yeah, we can trust this Joker. He's just looking for a chance to drag us under. No one said anything about having to like it. However, the fact of the matter is that we have no other option but to solve the case. We have you, we have us, and we have 4 related individuals with which we can consult. I don't know if this is possible or not, but if we can all come together, I think we have a shot. Yeah, believe in the heart of the courtroom and trust in the power of friendship. My. Color me impressed me, huh? That was almost pretty cool of you just now. Alright, I'm on board. For now. Where do we start? My memory is still a little fuzzy. Could you remind me how we left off? Sure. There were 2 theories floating around when Zero got the drop on us. Well, more like 1.5. The first was your theory. Winters sedated Graves and Monty and committed the crime after 12:30. But based on Montclair's testimony, we know he remembers going to the meeting and ergo was not sedated. For a time, your theory was backed up by the fact that a bottle of ketamine had gone missing. But we have since located said bottle, all but confirming it was not used in the murder. While I am forced to agree that this does not completely discredit the possibility, I think you'll agree that it does make it significantly less plausible. And our other theory, the OG original theory, of course. Donald Graves went to the roof at midnight, hit Montclair, shot Bishop, then tried to commit suicide. It's the same thing I've been saying literally this entire time. Wait a minute. Didn't I disprove that theory? You did. And then I undisproved it. Dog, simplify your fractions. You argued Graves could not be the killer because Winters didn't see him bring the bow into the hospice. And my counter-argument was this. The key to the front doors is stored at the reception desk. Graves could have known this from previous visits to the hospice, or from watching Winters as the front doors are made of glass. The point being that Graves could have left the crossbow outside. Damage to the fog covers the southern edge. Flash flooding. 1151. I think I can disprove that. It might be a bit touch and go, but I think the timeline works out if we're saying the timeline we have here correct. And made its way to the rooftop. Until midnight, then there's a step away. Floodwater didn't recede until 7. And no, 11 minutes, probably time enough. What we had to do was grab the key, bring the crossbow inside, relock the door, and put the key back in its original spot. Presto. Graves could have easily smuggled the crossbow into the hospice unseen. But wasn't there something about Montclair getting to the roof before Graves too? Oh, that. Yeah, I guess. And that big argument over whether it was possible for Graves to be the killer, if he wasn't the first person to arrive on the roof. You won, but I still maintain that the whole affair is inconclusive. Out of curiosity, what happens if it turns out Graves is Sheol? I understand that this is a fairly likely outcome. If you were able to prove conclusively that Donald Graves is Sheol, then I would graciously accept this as the truth. But I am aware that he is an easy target for you. If I suspect even a little that he is being used as a scapegoat, it will not end well for you. Alright, no need to get all renegade about it. But yeah, that's where we left off. You were questioning Montclair and getting absolutely nowhere, then Zero gassed us. Alright, so what now? Yes, game, give me something to hook onto. What indeed? This was your idea, Mia. Why don't you give us some direction? Ms. Rochelle and Mr. Klein just graced us with the first piece of new info that we've seen in a while. Whereas the prosecutor and I have basically worked through all the information available to us. Both of you claim to be unrelated to Detective Bishop's murder, and I respect that. Still, I would hear your insights on the case, and on Sheol's motives in particular. Yeah, sure. Yep, still smoking. Like a chimney. I just don't expect much. Oh, believe me, I don't. So that'll done. Just give me a minute to figure out the best way to approach this, then we'll begin. Alright. New game mode. Probably. I am well aware that this plan is a shot in the dark, but it's all we've got. And while it would be great to actually solve Bishop's murder, technically all we need to figure out here is what Sheol's plan was. I don't know how this is going to play out, but you guys nothing. Alright. Talk to me. Hello, Zero. Would you like to talk? What am I looking at here? Damara is staring absent-mindedly. Right at Zero. Oh. It appears you have company, Miss Michelle. Oh. So I do. Sorry, I didn't hear you approach. What were you doing? Wasting more frames, I say. Nothing really. It looks like you were, glaring at Zero. I'm not exactly useful here. I'm not involved with this murder, and I'm hardly detective material. I mean, I've noticed that much several times. So she decided it was worth her time to bother me for some reason. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. I thought I might be able to get something out of him, I don't know. You were trying to interrogate the stuffed plushie being used as a remote communication device. Brilliant, Holmes. This is why you're the detective here. Oh, wait. It didn't work. And you decided to just sit here and quietly stare at him instead. Call it a poor attempt at intimidation. Miss Fay, it would serve us both if you were to find something more productive for Miss Rochelle to do. Right. About that. See, kids, this is why I don't smoke. Wait, so... if Miss Fay isn't your real name... are you a lawyer? Oh... Speaking of changing the subject... I'll take that as a no, then. You're pretty gutsy, Mia. You've got my respect. Alright, hello. Copper's body is right behind the bench. Better not think about it. Alright. Talk to me. Mara, I'd like to talk to you about the night of the murder. You know I have nothing to do with this, right? What good will it do? Maybe not. But you were supposed to be a part of it. She'll summoned you to the hospice. And I doubt you were able to ignore that fact entirely. You must have some thoughts about it, and I'd like to hear them. Well, you aren't wrong, I suppose. I can't imagine the musings of a middle-aged stoner being all that helpful. I disagree, but only because I know the game is going to twist itself into knots to make it useful. If I had other news, I wouldn't be asking. I appreciate the honesty. Alright, fine. Let's get this over with. Excellent. Step over here then, if you'd please. Just because we're not in an official trial doesn't mean there's a good reason not to do things by the book. Wow. You're putting me on the witness stand and everything. How formal. Yeah, there's no sense in questioning you by myself. Like it or not, we're all in this together. Alright, enough with the sentimentalism. You really think we're gonna get anything out of this, Mia? We won't know until we try. Oh, right, it's only our lives on the line, whatever, right? Let's wrap this up quickly. Ms. Rochelle, if you would. Hold on, I need to take another fucking blow, Jesus Christ. Do you breathe oxygen at any point? You're gonna give yourself a coal miner's lung. If you insist. Bring on the testimony. Not really a witness, but you know. Old wounds and new. Shale invited me to the hospice, but I didn't go, so I don't actually know what happened there. That's an important thing to keep in mind. Not a redeem to hydrate, thank you very much. And a fetch. Alright, now as I was saying, Damara and, Detective Klein, both claim that they didn't set foot in the hospice at any point. Damara in particular has no connection to this case before she wakes up in here after the killing started. So if anybody says anything that they shouldn't know given the positioning... Oh god, no, my eye, I need this to read the dialogue boxes. Anyway, that'd be super suspicious, right? Just keep an eye out. Still, I can't help but wonder why Shield invited the four of us to such a conspicuous location. A lot of people got hurt, I gather. Shield must have known things would turn out this way. Seems like a bit of a stretch. Just because Shield's a criminal mastermind who pulls strings doesn't mean he's completely omniscient. It feels like that must have been exactly what he wanted. To stir it all back up again. Damara's theory... It's definitely something we've all wondered about at one point or another. Yes, who among us hasn't wondered if Sheol, the main antagonist of fictional Fangame, the Torrential Turnabout, really intended for his plan to just be to dredge up old memories? Who amongst us? As someone on the outside looking in, it's not surprising that the context would stick out to her. Which is totally fair, she makes a good point, and we haven't really addressed this before. The circumstances are definitely strange, but are they useful? Only one way to find out, and that way is to ask a lot of questions. As for your agreement with Graves and Detective Klein, correct? That's right. Is there any proof that you did not, in fact, go to the hospice that night? I mean, if she was high this constantly, she probably couldn't get a car. That probably counts for something. But no. All I can say is that it would have been foolish to go out on that night. What do you mean by that? Well, obviously she's talking about Hurricane Seth. No one in their right mind would have gone out that night unless their life depended on it. Which further highlights how odd Donald Graves' actions are. Which at this point is beating a dead horse. And what did that horse ever do to you? Just to be thorough, do you remember what you were doing at the time of the crime, witness? Well, I'm a full-fledged witness now, huh? Sorry, habit. Strangely strong habit, given that you're not a defense attorney. To be clear, the crime occurred sometime around midnight, right? That's the time Shield specified, but I don't actually know when the murder happened. Midnight is close enough for our purposes. I was awake. Because of the storm. Parts of LA were flooding according to the radio. I live in a fairly elevated part of the city, but I was still nervous. As was everyone, I'm sure. I'd packed a bag. If the water level began to creep up, I was going to get out. Anything else come to mind? Not really, no. I made a pot of coffee to stay awake, but that was pretty much it. That was all pretty pedestrian, but this is still Damara's account at the time of the crime. Should I ever add it to this? Add it. Always add every statement. Witness, do you think you would add this in for your testimony? I don't see why not. We could play the rolling blackouts interfering with the pot of coffee. If we were desperate to get any sort of... Rolling blackout hit the entire city. Yeah, that might actually be a good point. Let's dig a bit deeper first. Did you try to contact the other three at all? To confirm that they were staying awake from the hospice as promised? No. You said that you were watching the water level and would leave if it got high enough. Did this ever occur? No. So you remained at home all night? Yes. Do you remember what time you fell asleep? I thought she was going to say no. It was light out. Did you have any contact with Charlie Klein or Nathaniel Montclair between then and now? No. Well, that went nowhere. Can't help but wonder why Sheila invited the four of us to such a conspicuous location. What do you mean by a conspicuous location? Do you mean the roof of a public building? A medical facility? I mean, so what was that noise just made? It was the sound people who smoke make. I assume. I haven't talked to a smoker in a very long time. I appreciate having functional lungs. A medical facility at midnight? How do you expect us to get in? That's a good point, actually. Not to mention all of the security cameras and whatnot I'm sure the hospice is fitted with. Just by showing up, we would be breaking the law. Breaking the law, breaking the law. Imagine if Shield got what he wanted and all four of us went. We'd definitely have gotten caught. As a point of interest, Bishop was actually caught on camera. The only reason we don't have any footage of him is because the flood destroyed the security room. That's right, I'd made a note of that timeline. Was Bishop simply unaware of the camera? That seems unlikely, given how paranoid everyone said he was. And did he just not care about getting caught breaking and entering the hospital? And if so, why? He left a dying message. He might have known he was going to die and figured whatever comes next was worth it. He was really single-mindedly obsessed with this case. That seems like him. When the three of us paid a visit to Nathan the day before the day of the meeting, I paid special attention to the hospice's security system. Really, I don't know how anyone was supposed to get in there after hours. Apparently all you need to do is knock on the front door. Look, I'm sorry, okay? I thought I was being a good neighbor. What is happening in your brain, Miss Faye? Come now, share with the class. I seriously can't come up with a good explanation for this. We know the employee entry was locked because Bishop had to pick it to get in. And we know the front door was locked from Winters' testimony. So then how was this thing supposed to work? It doesn't make any sense. Winters could be lying. She actually left the front door unlocked? On purpose? Yeah, but I can't prove that any more than I can prove she's the culprit. And the only alternative I can think of is that Shield wanted this to be as messy as possible. If that's true, then why? Oh, for Christ's sake, we don't understand anything about this case, do we? Oh, Shield, I don't know what your endgame is, so I don't know how any of the steps fit into your plan. And we're supposed to find Shield in this state? Ah, there has to be something. Just a sliver, the thinnest of threads. God damn it, we were doing so well. There has to be something. Just a sliver, the thinnest of threads. And if I can't find it soon... A lot of people got hurt, I gather. Shield must have known things would turn out this way. You think Shield predicted that violence would erupt that night? Given what we know about Shield's involvement at this point, it sounds like an exaggeration. I understand where you're coming from. Jesus Christ, the entire courtroom is going to reek like burned leaves for a month after this. Now understand where I'm coming from. It's not a matter of coercion or persuasion. He knows us. How we'll react to certain stimuli. Even Montclair? And I don't think Montclair understands how Montclair works anymore. It's not something any of us like to think about, but it's the truth. If I'm interpreting this right, you're saying one of the 4 of you was responsible for what happened that night. I can't imagine it going any other way. Looks like those two agree. Which of them looked away out of guilt, though, is the question. It feels like... that must have been exactly what he wanted. To stir it back up again. The crossbow is modified on the black market, so I guess... that would make Klein, the ex-career criminal, the most suspicious? Though Damar is an ex-Marine, as we all know, Marines are deeply tied into all sorts of bullshit, too. And as I've mentioned several times now, that was an absurd shot to pull off if we're right about the what and the how. It feels like... that must have been exactly what he wanted. To stir it all back up again. Stir it all back up again. That's not really a motive. It's what happened. And had it gone the way Shield seems to have intended it... serial abductee trio break into hospice, murder officer trying to bring kidnapper to justice. Makes for a hell of a headline. We might have gotten something close to it anyway if it wasn't for the hurricane stealing the spotlight. So you think Shield wanted to rekindle interest in his work? I think it's possible. Don't ask me why, though. I don't necessarily disagree. That's not what I meant. There was... a certain line he liked to repeat. A Shield, that is. It takes great pressure to forge diamonds from stone. But this case is merely cubic zirconia if we can trust the chapter title. Interesting. And the password to that locked suitcase at the very beginning of Chapter 1 was rebirth or revitalization or something like that. Shield is starting to make more sense at least, if nothing else. That's the one. I think it's his way of telling us it was all for our own good. That by overcoming the misery he put us through, we would somehow become better people. Huh. I mean, 1 out of 9's not a bad score, you know? You know? He was trying to convince us he was the good guy. Who knows if he believed it himself? Perhaps he wanted to test his philosophy with this incident. Lure us in, see if we'd take the bait. Act the way he thought we would. See if we become diamonds. Either way, he's proven his bullshit. The primary focus of this testimony is the context surrounding the crime. And as odd as it is to say, that's something we haven't given much consideration to yet. Weirder still, the general feeling I'm getting here is that we all agree that it doesn't make sense. And that's... okay? As if Shield's involvement gives this case license to stop abiding by any identifiable logic. The real problem here isn't that there might not be a reason. It's that I can't prove there was a reason. Not with this evidence, not with this testimony. Unless there's some other thread I can follow with this testimony, it's an utter dead end. Did somebody say some other thread? Blackout's at 11:51, but you were brewing coffee at midnight. Don't know what that means, but it is legally a contradiction. Huh? Wait. Hold on. What? But that doesn't make any... Oh, we found something very... You, look like you've got something to say over there, Mia. Well, I guess I'll at least ask about it. Oh, this is going to somehow blow the entire case open, isn't it? I love moments like this. Ms. Rochelle. About this, pot of coffee. Could you elaborate, maybe? How do you mean? Like, do you remember when you made it exactly? It was midnight. Like I said, why? Out of curiosity, were you, sober that night? And she's not sober right now, so I don't know what you're trying to get. I was. There was a lot to consider on that particular night. Great. So, about this coffee, how did you make it? Okay, I think we're officially grasping at straws here. Just humor me for a minute. Well, witness. I made it using my coffee maker. And, this coffee maker, does it plug into the wall, or something? Hey, nice to see you finally crossed that finish line, Murdoch, you self-righteous piece of garbage. Yes? This is not how I thought this cross-examination would go. You're lying, Damara. Lying? About what? About coffee? I don't really think that's anything worth lying about. And yet you are lying all the same. It would have been quite impossible for you to have made coffee at midnight that night. In fact, it would have been possible to do anything requiring electricity, as the power was out. Right here, at 11:51 p.m., a rolling blackout hit the city, but was restored half an hour later. Huh? Blackouts? What blackout? Okay, I see where you're going with this, but let's be real. The witness is a smokestack. We can't trust her memory. And yet she just said she had not been partaking that particular evening. Well, maybe so, but she's certainly partaking right now. And yet, she was able to reconfirm both time and method for me. Unless you'd like to retract one of your statements, Damara. Just to be clear, I'm actually with you on this one. But we can't afford to make a mountain out of a molehill here, so I'm gonna play devil's advocate, okay? The witness didn't actually make coffee that night. I believe that. Why lie about it? There's absolutely no reason to make something like that up. Hello, Occupy. Welcome to the chat room. We just made an objection about coffee, and it's not because someone takes it with too much milk. I agree. The witness has absolutely nothing to gain by lying about coffee, of all things. I think what's actually happening here is that the witness's entire story is a lie. I think the witness made up details on the spot to make her story sound more believable, and walked right into a contradiction. Well, that would be awfully convenient for you, wouldn't it? I mean, yes, it would. Thank you for doing it anyway. What is this case about? We're like 5 chapters in, and it's very complicated. But to massively truncate, 5 years ago there was a killing game. There were 4 survivors. In the middle of Hurricane Seth, the lead detective in charge of that case was shot to death with a crossbow on the roof of a hospice owned by one of the survivors. And another of the survivors is being tried in absentia due to being hospitalized after getting thrown off a roof. In the middle of the trial, a guy threw a sleeping gas grenade into the courtroom. We're all asleep, and now we're playing a different killing game, with the condition that we have to find out who the mastermind of the first killing game was before time runs out, or we just all die and they let God sort us out. This woman here... Mitsu, for some reason stream chat isn't updating on your stream. I thought you just let you know. Well, it does that sometimes, and I don't really know what you want me to do about it now. Guess I'll just have to friggin' live with it. Whatever connection there is, it's probably not going to update in the middle of the case anyway. Like, I'd probably have to shut down, and that'd involve breaking the law, and no one here appreciates that. That's no fun whatsoever the heck ever. I mean, I'll take a swing at it, but, you know. You still there? Yep, it's not fixin'. Doesn't look like I can, in fact, tinker with this while it's still going. Okay, well, guess we'll all have to live with it. Midnight is late. I probably just dozed off without realizing it. On the same night you claimed to have not been smoking because you wanted to stay focused. On the same night you were supposed to have met with your nemesis, as you put it. Oh well, it happens. It happens. Not like anyone reads this shit anyway. On the same night you were supposedly taking precautions to remain vigilant for the rising water. On this same night, you fell asleep without noticing. Perhaps the clock on my stove was wrong then. Having power bumps all through the evening. Oh yes, I'm sure. Speaking of which, do you remember what you said a moment ago? Blackouts? What blackout, I believe? And you definitely I said it, so I don't even think of playing dumb. This was a city-wide power outage that went on for more than 30 minutes. Witness. By your own admission, you were unaware of this blackout. Care to explain how you missed something so obvious? I mean, I think the answer is fairly obvious if you've been following along. That's why I'd appreciate if you just said it already. Claiming up, eh? Classic. Since the witness doesn't seem to want to cooperate, why don't you answer for her, Maya? Why do you think Damara was unaware of the power outage? Why was she unaware of the outage? Well, there are a few explanations. But only one that explains why he would lie about it. Damara didn't know about the blackout because the power didn't go out. It must be because Damara was someplace where the power stayed on that night. Like, say, a hospital with some backup generators, perhaps. The most important thing her lie establishes is that she was at home all night. I also play Ace Attorney, but I take so long to finish the episodes because of my small brain and get headaches from thinking. Yeah, I'm not gonna front, I don't have that problem. Sorry for your loss, Akio. Though this game is also every other mystery game released between the years of 2000 and 2010. And closer to 2015. Thrown in a blender, so they might hit with a few curveballs. Just kick back and enjoy the ride. I'm sure I'll be suffering by the end of things, too. We know she's lying, so logically, we can infer that she was actually somewhere else. And that somewhere else must be a place where the power outage didn't occur. Winters. Me? Were you aware of this power outage, Nurse Winters? You can be honest. No. This is the first time hearing of it. This blackout wasn't so hard to miss after all. That's not quite it. I was at work all night. And the hospice has backup generators for times like these. This is why you don't try to do testimony while lit. You see where I'm going with this, right? You, Damara or Shell, were invited to the hospice but claim not to have gone. Yet the holes in your story only make sense if you were someplace with auxiliary power. There's only one way all of this works out. Damara, you went to the hospice that night. You dirty liar. Dear God, that's the longest pause I've ever seen. Usually whenever I do this, I try to do a joke about actually pausing for as long as the number of periods in the ellipsis state it should be, but I worry you all would get bored and leave before that moment came. Okay, now you're milking it. Get on with it! Yes, get on with it! That's not true. Well, if it's not, then please provide an alternate explanation for the problems in your story. And if you do, then I'd also like to know why you didn't speak earlier. I didn't go to the hospice. You aren't keeping secrets from me, are you, puppets? Don't think that I'm above using pain as a motivator. Since she's so high, she probably wouldn't feel anything. Whatever you say. Should I take that as an invitation? Here, I'll talk. Well, let's not get carried away. This chick's got guts, I'll give her that. You realize what we're trying to accomplish here, right? Please, tell us the truth, for all our sakes. Last chance. I didn't go to the hospice. I was at home all night. I don't think she's gonna budge. Gee, just act as suspicious as possible. It sucks, but we should think about trying a different approach. Ideally, one that doesn't hinge on the cooperation of stubborn witnesses. Damn it. Is there really nothing we can do here? I guess I shouldn't be surprised. This was an inevitable result of ditching courtroom procedure. We can't threaten her with obstruction or perjury. If she won't bend to zero, then... yeah, we're basically out of options as far as pressuring tomorrow goes. Why do you look so defeated, Mia? Yeah, we can't follow through on this lead, but... we did learn 2 new facts. 1, Tamara was probably at the hospice that night, and 2, she's a terrible liar. Considering how much progress we've made until this point, I'd call that pretty impressive. Good work. Oh, thanks? And then he undermines by pointing out that he still thinks we're Sheol. Wait, did Murdoch just give me a compliment? Creepy. Why do I feel insulted all of a sudden? Right. Well, looks like this is a dead end. For now. But this isn't over yet. I'm not giving up until we get out of here. For now, you can all go back to what you were doing. I'll puzzle out our next step. And you... you'd better watch yourself. You better check yourself before you wreck yourself, girlfriend. I'm on the warpath now. Alright, the logical next step would be to talk to Fireman. The other person here. I wonder if Catherine has anything to say, now that we know her hospice is relevant again. Oh, it's just you two. Oh, what the heck? Nana. Why? I did not do anything. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I think the situation's got us all a little on edge. Are you sure you're not just overthinking things? I don't see why else she would care about it so much. She was trying to pin a murder on me a few hours ago. I shouldn't be surprised that she's trying to frame me for this, too. Now, I'm sure that's not what's happening. Detective? Ah, crud, he noticed me listening in. It's nice to know that you're so understanding of average courtroom procedure. Sorry. I was just thinking about something. Or... huh? So this photograph... you said it's of your mother. Ah, that's right. It's just a picture. Nothing extraordinary about it at all. And Mom herself was also pretty ordinary. Went to church, liked to read, loved my sister and I. So Doc was your mother, allegedly, and you have a sister. They wouldn't have brought up that you have a sister if she wasn't a character in this case. How many women do we have here? It's probably not Mia. Because, you know, she doesn't recognize her. So that would basically reduce us to Blue and, Salem. Unless Tower's a woman, but that strikes me as unlikely. Oh, well, the clues are coming together. But again, Blue and Salem are also both dead. So... One must needs wonder. Didn't Doc meet both Blue and Salem? I mean, yes, but all three of those people are allegedly dead because they lost the killing game 5 years ago, so... She would have known if it was her child. That's a fair point. I wouldn't have brought this up if it wasn't somebody. They did mention, back during the first killing game, that they were trying to, like, avoid acknowledging each other. Like, have you played Zero Escape, Nana? They did something similar in the first game. All the characters tied their relationships to each other just on the off chance the mastermind behind that killing game didn't know who they were and just grabbed them randomly, so he couldn't track them down after they escaped. Or, of course, let's not forget, that wasn't the report, that was... The report we heard about that case was written by Roland, so for all we know, he was lying through his teeth. Roland is still a pure unknown. Anything is possible. Past tense. She passed away a few years ago. Oh. I'm, sorry for your loss. Thank you. But it's fine. What's not fine is that woman getting in my face about it. Mom has nothing to do with anything, yet she seems intent on dragging her into this. I can handle her aggressive attitude, but I draw the line at my family. She want to give me a decent reason why she's aching so hard. It's entirely unnecessary. Petty, even. I mean, I don't think someone who lies about keeping her mother's murderer out of jail is petty. Which is why you're concerned she might try to throw you under the bus, right? She did say as much. I see. Her behavior is puzzling. Yeah. Do us a favor and explain all of that for us. Wait. Listening in that whole time? No? You liar. Eavesdropping, Mia? Really? How underhanded of you. Yes, that makes us even. On that account, anyway. Hey, I'm only here because I wanted to speak with Detective Klein. All I was doing was waiting for you to finish your conversation. Sure, whatever you say. What did you want to talk to me about? I wanted to hear your thoughts on Detective Bishop's actions on the night of the murder. Yeah, sure I can do that. And while I'm here, I might as well ask about the new information the detective just gifted to me. Okay, but consider Winters and Mia are sisters. That would be less plausible. Okay, that would be less plausible than the version you just gave. I mean, one, no, they don't have the same hair color. That's manifestly untrue. Two, it wouldn't matter if they did, because Mia's wearing a wig. Three, if Mia and Winters were sisters, then obviously they would not be confused about the fact that they are their relation to each other and their own mother. Come on, Nana. Try. Come on, focus. While I'm here, I might as well ask about the new information that detective just gifted me. I just realized, you don't handle your cases like other lawyers do. You, been involved in a lot of murder trials, have you? I thought trials were supposed to be slow and orderly. With you and that guy, it's more like a war zone. Yeah, given the situation, I'd put more stock in a stubborn attorney than a well-prepared one. So am I being complimented here, or... how's your ward? What? You lost me. Yeah, she likes to shove random junk in your face for no reason, best to ignore her. Alright, fine, get lazy with your writing, see if I care. Courtrooms are kinda eerie when they're this empty. Alright, good enough, talk to me about the photograph. As you might have heard, Winters and I were discussing your recent behavior. You say that like I'm a 5th grader or something. Well, if the shoe fits, I am like more than halfway to solving a murder, you petty bitch. My god. And you call me petty. I'm sorry, I thought you weren't eavesdropping on us. Okay, yeah, you two have some beef, don't ya? We don't exactly have the time to unpack all that, so I'll just cut right to it. What's the deal with this photo I've been hearing so much about? Like I've been saying, there isn't any deal with it. Clearly, Miss Faye thinks there is. So come on, give us a little dirt. For the record, the only reason I haven't explained myself to you, Winters, is because you would either have no idea what I'm talking about, or would pretend like it. What do you mean by that? It's Doc. Alright, look at that little hamster wheel spinning. Are you for real? I'm dead serious. Winters, you said that the woman in the photograph was your mother, correct? Not to you, I didn't. But yes, that's right. Simply put, the fact that you are related to Doc makes for the possibility of a motive. For the events of July 17th, anyway. I won't suspect you of being S.H.I.E.L.D. unless the evidence supports it. And it doesn't. Currently. Alright, hold on. Who is this Doc person? My mother wasn't a doctor, she was a preschool teacher. That explains so much. Forget that, Mia! Are you being serious right now? Doc's daughter is an unrelated witness to this particular murder. If that's a coincidence, it isn't funny. And if it's not a coincidence, then it looks pretty bad. Let's lay this to rest, shall we? Winters, would you mind telling us what your mother's name was? Patricia? Last name Winters? No. Markowitz. And judging by Charlie's response, I think we can put this case to bed. I screwed up. What do you mean you screwed up? That photo. Patricia Markowitz. It sounds like I overlooked a major clue in my investigation. Uh-huh. Look, I'm sorry, Winters, but Mia is absolutely correct. You are a suspect. What? Wow. I feel incredibly validated all of a sudden. Huh. Damn it! I was the only one who could have found that picture, and I completely missed it. This case would have been completely different if I had. And if the brass doesn't find out. Wait, I still don't understand what's going on. Winters, how did your mother die? It's like I keep saying, I don't understand what that has to do with anything. Do you think I want to talk about this with you? Here? This is my mom we're talking about. You know, earlier you said it wasn't that big a deal. Your hesitance is suspicious. This trial or whatever. It's crazy, like a bad thriller or something. I got wrapped up in this purely by coincidence. I refuse to believe my personal life is relevant. Mia, she couldn't possibly tell you. At least, not in that sense. I know. I was just curious what the official story was. If it's too personal a subject, then fine. You don't have to answer. But would you be willing to answer a question about something else? What's that? If this is all a big coincidence, then tell me. How did you come to be employed at Jameson Memorial? I'm curious about that too, now that you bring it up. What? Oh, where did that come from? It was nothing special. I was... Wait. You aren't saying that... Winters? I was... headhunted. Klein was headhunted by the detective in charge. Doc's daughter was headhunted by... Teddy. That explains something, but I don't know if it explains everything. Jameson Memorial is a fairly new facility. It's only 4 years old. I was approached and offered a position a few months before it opened. I was working at Huntington before that. They were paying me well, but Jameson Memorial's offer was, well, kind of ridiculous, honestly. What do you mean? I get paid very well for what I do. Well above the average for nurses, I should think. Means what has headhunted me. It means she was... The recruiters came to her. She didn't have to, like, apply and go through a job interview and look at job websites and all that other stuff. And I consider myself to be good at my job. Great, even. Still, I've wondered about that number a few times. Is that right? You don't think I was brought on for some other reason, do you? Well, it definitely isn't where I thought this conversation would go. It sounds like you suspect as much. Was there anything else odd about the hiring process? Did it feel rushed? Not rushed, no, but there was something else I thought was unusual. Usually interviews for nurses are handled by the facility's director with input from the head nurse. But I was interviewed by Nathan. You mean Nathaniel Montclair? Yeah. That is odd. No, he owns the building, but I don't think he actually knows anything about medicine. I take it that was before his condition set in? Well, yes, obviously. He was a very different person back then. Quieter. Thinner, too. But still the same at heart. He and I hit it off immediately and became fast friends. And I've worked there ever since. Nathan would even come and visit sometimes, before he, you know. Nathaniel Montclair. A man who got super fucking turned and now he can't advance in time. Sounds like the premise of a bad Twilight Zone episode. I wonder if it was because... You think what I'm thinking, Mia? Maybe. And I think he might have been trying to make amends for what happened to Doc. And I think so too. And I never knew the guy all that well, but it sounds like something he'd do. Yeah. Thanks, Winters. That's all the questions I have for now. Huh? Oh. Sure. Wait, I've got a question for you. You and I don't see eye to eye. Not much goes without saying. I don't know what goes on in that head of yours, and I don't know what you think of me exactly. But I'm not an idiot, alright? I'm not oblivious. Every time you've referred to my mother, you've called her Doc. I've been hearing other weird names too. This Shiel guy, Teddy. That woman's been called Poppet. And the term survivors has been getting thrown around too. You've claimed that I don't know how my mom died twice now. Well, you're right. I couldn't understand how you knew that, but I think I'm starting to get it. 5 years ago, 2 men in suits showed up at my door. They told me mother had died. She got caught up in domestic terrorism, they said. An unfortunate coincidence. They said the incident was under investigation and that they couldn't give me any details. And that's all I've ever heard about it. I'm sorry. That incident that killed my mother. You two were involved, weren't you? No. It's more like everyone here was involved, isn't it? Everyone but me. What happened to Mother? What's happening in this courtroom? I remember what you said. You said that the person who killed her was in this room. That's what you told me. I'm here by coincidence. That's all. I just so happened to be on duty that day. That storm just so happened to change course at the last moment. The next nurse just so happened to no-show on me. I just so happened to be in the right place to help that man out in the pouring rain. If any one of those things hadn't happened, then I wouldn't be here. A lot of that I don't believe was a coincidence, but Hurricane Seth, I admit. You couldn't exactly have predicted a week in advance. No. I'd be at home. With my husband, with my dog. Just like every other day. You're married? What? It's so surprising. You don't wear a ring? It can be a workplace hazard. Got into the habit of not wearing it. Oh. It didn't cross your mind that I might have a life beyond this case? No, of course not. I would blame you if you did. The longer I'm trapped in here, the less convinced I am that everything is all just a coincidence. About why I'm here. About my mom. In fact, it doesn't feel much like a coincidence at all anymore. Which is why I want an explanation. If there's a reason why I'm here, I want to know what it is. I think you're owed at least that much. It's a bit of a long story, though. No reason for me to be the one to tell it. Huh? I'll tell Winters. I was there. It should be me. And you're busy, aren't you? You don't exactly have all day. Right. Thank you. Don't mention it. But before that, is there anything you want from us first, Mia? Gotta keep our priorities straight after all. No point in me telling you anything, only for us all to die. Oh, and not yet. I want to go see if we can go dig through Puppet's non-testimony related dialogue tree as well. We can, okay. Zero, I have a question. Go ahead. One of us is Shield, according to you. But why are you so sure? Shield likes to play games, and I cheat. That's all. Well, if you really want to catch Shield, why are you hiding information from us? So about Judge Harper. Moment of truth. I suppose this was going to come up sooner or later. Did you kill her, Zero? Yes. I suppose so. Do we know who Zero is? Considering that they're using a voice changer and a Monokuma avatar, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say no. You suppose so? Yes. I was the one who gave her that injection, after all. I gave her the same dosage I gave to Poppet and the firemen. I didn't know things would end up like this. Truthfully, I didn't even realize she had passed until I overheard your conversation from earlier. Harper was intended to participate in this trial with you all. Her death is most unfortunate. I'm half asleep, Mitsu, and whose fault is that, huh? Though, depending on the outcome, perhaps she is the fortunate one. Well, it's good to have confirmed all of that, but none of it was especially surprising. I do have one follow-up question, though. The drug you gave to those three, ketamine, are you aware that it's for horses, you dumb motherfucker? Was it you who stole that bottle from the hospice? Yes. I've been investigating Detective Bishop's death myself. I was at the hospice yesterday. The employee-only door in the back was stuck open at a strange angle, so it was easy to sneak in. I'm going to need to have a chat with that guy. Alright. I mean, might as well do it now. Hello, Diego. Would you like to talk about the case a bit more? How's it coming? Oh. Yo. Nah, we still slid troll over here. It's a 9-character password, right? What have you guessed so far? Probably easier to tell you what I haven't guessed. I've been at this shit for hours, man, and I ain't got flippin' nowhere. Diego, you should probably focus. You're forgetting how to talk. It's been that kind of gig, I don't know what else to tell ya. Should we try to break it open again? No offense, but I'd probably grab a brother with some pipes this time. But even still, I don't know if we got the manpower to bust this shit open, yeah? Like, thing's obviously old as hell, but it's basically all metal. Plus, we ain't got nothing to work with. No tools, right? We need, like, something to pry with, you dig? I appreciate you giving up on not having this absurd accent as soon as you stopped pretending that Diego Armando was your real name. I'm very comfortable doing it, as you can see. Okay, so going off topic for a moment, there's something that's been bothering me for a while now. You've slowly been reverting back to your default pseudo b-boy thing. It's sort of throwing me off. Who's got a pseudo b-boy thing? You do. The hell I do. All I'm going to say is that you are 2 parts Diego to 1 part walkie-talkie right now, and it's kinda weird. Ah yes, Walkie, everybody's favorite Ace Attorney character. You serious? Yeah. Shit. I mean, doesn't really matter at this point, but... I hear ya. For the people, right? The peeps. Wait, I mean, a performer's got to respect his audience, right, kitten? Well, if you're hard, I'll give you that. I might bend, but I never break. I suppose that was a cool line, if not entirely unoriginal. You can play it off, but I know you're swooning. But yeah, anyway. Back to this briefcase ordeal. I seriously don't think I can get this thing open, Mia. I'm at my wit's end. I can't say I really expected us to get anywhere just by guessing blindly. Can I take a look at it? Be my guest. I need something to go off of here. A name, a date, a place. It's gotta be something it uses a clue. But it can't be something too obvious either, or else Diego surely would have unlocked it already. Damn it. At the end of the day, all I can do is guess blindly too. Numbers and capital letters only. Oh, you dirty core. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That was too easy. Nothing. Should I try again? No. This is pointless. Guess I'll try again if something comes to me. But until then, I think we're gonna call it for today. All we've got left on the to-do list is Klein's testimony, and that's gonna be a big, long production. The production is D's nuts. No, it isn't, Nana. Anyway. We've learned quite a bit today, though I'm not sure what all of it means. But, well, then again, I wouldn't be a very good detective if I closed the case too early, now would I be? That was my attempt at a Diego line. Anyway, I'm gonna turn off the light so I can alt-tab over and look at if there's anybody we can raid. So, don't touch that dial. Scuffles? Scuffles? I'm used to Scuffles streams do better than this. Or no, Idisu. It's been longer since the last time we raided Idisu. Thank you for the stream, Itsu. It's really fun. I'm getting more and more excited about the trajectory of the case. I am too. I'm having the time of my life over here. It really is like getting just balled up back into when I was a small child and getting sent through the entire... all my formative years all over again. Anyway, we're raiding Idisu Python. She's streaming Ghost Runner. She is just starting. She's a toad, but she tells everybody she's a frog because she's a dirty liar. Be polite. Good night, everybody.